To grow pot. That's what a greenhouse is for.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, August 17th, 2014. It's time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 644.
This is No Agenda.
Just mere city blocks from the League of Nations headquarters in FEMA Region 2 here in the Big Apple in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where apparently there's a lot of what you call latency today, and we're stuck with it, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
No, you shouldn't have too much latency. It should be fine today.
The League of Nations was headquartered in San Francisco.
Oh, well, then there's a latency of several thousand miles.
Mm-hmm.
No, I switched to the, I'm a little mad. So the way I think we've talked about this before, the way everything is set up, I run everything on one single computer. It really does work, except I have the Jingle Pad, which is wirelessly operated from my Generation 1 no cellular network having Wi-Fi only iPad, which is all I use it for. But it has to be on the same network as the computer. And that network also has to allow intercommunication between the two devices. And apparently the IBAN, you know these guys, the IBAN hotel network facilities don't allow inter-device communication.
Well, that stinks.
Yeah, so I tried it on I have a little Freedom Pop MiFi devicey thingy, but we just had too much latency on the Skype. So anyway, I just don't say the word weird too often because it just takes me too long to get it all done.
So if I said it, you wouldn't get to the buzzer fast enough.
No, but I can try. I mean, I can do my best.
Yeah, the way this works, it seems to me, and I hate that buzzer.
Especially since it now seems to be left channel only today. I don't know why.
Well, whatever the case is, it still sounds crap. I mean, okay, but the idea is it's a Pavlov's thing where you say the word that you don't want to say, and we're trying to we train each other on this show to not say certain things like the fact of the matter,
yes,
or the truth of the matter, which
it's even worse.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And you get this jarring beep, and it's like an electric shock, and it should snap you out of saying these things.
That would be even better,
but not if it's an hour later.
No, it doesn't quite work that way.
This is like telling the dog he shouldn't have pooped a week ago on the rug.
It kind of ruins the Pavlovian idea of it all. Yeah, I agree. Very good. I don't know how I don't think I can do anything about it.
Okay, well, we're so you're in New York. I'm in California. We're doing the Coast to Coast show.
We are indeed.
There's not a lot of new news. I mean, a lot of stuff is coming to a head. Ferguson is still chewing up too much of the.
Of course, when you're at a family reunion, which is why I'm here, there's always some discussion of, particularly when you look at the Curry-Gregg clan, you're going to expect some political conversation. But the Ferguson thing, I don't know if that really came up at all.
Oh, good. So what did come up?
Oh my goodness. We want to talk about Ferguson first, just so we can just get over it.
I don't really have any Ferguson news except for the people finding earplugs and claiming they're rubber bullets.
There was a few things that I found. And by the way, we got accused.
Did you see the tape of that guy? That guy that they killed was a stooge. I mean, that guy was a punk.
Yeah. So MSNBC apparently has been given the memo to be all in on this. And as you, I think, quite astutely deconstructed, the reason why this particular killing of this particular black man, or of any man, I would say, because this happens white, black, yellow, brown, all over the country. This happens on a daily basis. But this particular one is for a very specific, nefarious, I'd say kind of evil 2014 midterm election voting.
Get out to vote.
Push. Get out the vote, yes. And as we were talking on Thursday, the president came out and he interrupted his vacation to say several things. New York City had a huge protest just as we were arriving.
Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot! Hands up, don't shoot!
And this is well organized. This hands up,
Yes.
don't shoot. This is
Hands up, don't shoot.
which I didn't really realize. Apparently, this is what Michael Brown said. He said, "I have my hands up, don't shoot." Which we have no further evidence other than it was a meme propagated immediately. And we have to. And, you know, I got so many. No, not so many, but I got quite a significant number of social media messages saying we are racist a-holes. Our so-called deconstruction is stupid. We don't know what we're talking about. And I think we really do. And I think this is so obvious. What is, again, we're trying to stir up racial hatred. And it's getting to the point now where CNN is bringing in British reporters who typically do financial reports. This is who is this girl's name? She's a Brit, and her name is Zayn Asher. Dark-skinned, of course, because we really have to keep pushing it. To me, this is the racism that's happening. Is what's being shoved down your throat on CNN. And she just breaks out some numbers, which, because she's a financial reporter, and of course because it's CNN, you just have to take this for fact and for truth. And here we go.
Protests have turned ugly in Ferguson, Missouri, after the death of Michael Brown at the hands of police. But underlying the racial tensions in Ferguson is an economic
What's
tension
with the music?
I know.
between blacks and whites. It's a tale of two cities.
Now, you hear this? Underlying it is a tale of the blacks and the whites. And
Protests have turned ugly.
This is not true. It could be the police, and you could even go as far to say white police, but you can't just say whites and blacks. This is bullshit.
In Ferguson, Missouri, after the death of Michael Brown at the hands of police. But underlying the racial tensions in Ferguson is an economic tension between blacks and whites. It's a tale of two cities, and the stark financial differences are laid bare by the numbers. I'm going to break them down for you.
I'm going to break them down for you. Who is she, Alex Jones now? I want to break this down for you.
25% of blacks in the Ferguson area live below the poverty line compared to only 11% of whites. Median income of blacks in Ferguson is about 60% of what whites make. And the unemployment rate among blacks in Ferguson is nearly 20%. That's almost double the national average among African Americans.
And by the way, no source given for these numbers. It's just big,
And by the way,
big
this
numbers
could
on
be
the
these-
screen. Yeah.
This is bull crap that is double the national average, A, but two, you could do this in Oakland and give these same numbers.
Sure.
You could do this in half the cities around the country that have large black populations, because the blacks have been screwed during the Obama revolution. It's a fact, and nobody wants to mention that. And you could do that, but just focusing on Ferguson as though it's some sort of an exception to some rule is nonsense.
Compared to
It's
whites.
transparent crap.
It's having an unemployment rate in Ferguson of 6.7%. This is a city that used to be 75% white just 25 years ago, and now it is 67% black. And despite the changes in demographics over time, the police force, the city government, has remained nearly all white.
By the way, I'm ashamed now to not only be a white man, but to be an American and to even be in this
What's
country.
this Brit got to do with anything? What does she know about anything?
Well, she's a financial girl. She has all the answers.
It's not even. Yeah,
And
but
you
she
should-
has
you should be ashamed.
PhD in finance.
Yes, and
You shouldn't bring these people on like this.
You should be ashamed of yourself, John. You there in rich white Berkeley. When are you start? When is the white cops going to start killing the black people in Oakland?
We don't have these problems in California because we're run by Democrats.
There you go.
Segregation is still a problem across America. A Brown University study showed that St. Louis, where Ferguson is located, is actually the 9th most racially segregated city in the U.S.
They're top 10 though. I mean, the 9th. What is that? Oh man, that's no good.
Are they talking about St. Louis? They're talking about Ferguson. They're talking about East St. Louis. What are they talking about? East St. Louis is in Illinois. I don't know.
So you get the idea of that. I don't have to play all of what she said. The comments from the New Yorkers.
Here's the joke of this. This is going to CNN, which is mostly a liberal and middle and independent white audience. There's no blacks in the world that watch CNN. They just wouldn't do it because it's such a lily white network.
Yeah.
That's why they would put the black woman on.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of covered. They got 2 check boxes to hit. You might be lesbian too, so you can hit 3 check boxes. Get it out of the way.
And by the way, people, I know how it sounds, but no, we're not raving Republicans here. We really aren't. We're just people who are looking at something objectively without the cultural Marxism of political correctness and just seeing some obvious issues with this reporting. Or whatever you want to call it.
So I don't know what this expects to accomplish except to reconfirm the preconceived notions of the liberals who watch CNN. And I mean, if they haven't, if they're not watching MSNBC. So it doesn't, this is not really getting done what needs to get done, which is to get out the black vote. Because this is not accomplishing that. The New York protests will do something that will have an effect.
Well, although when you listen to what the New Yorkers are saying, the ones that are featured in this report is, let's see.
Well, I think it's beautiful that everybody gathered here in solidarity. However, I feel as though it's not really going to bring much of a change. It's like it's a good thing to do. It's good to show that we're here and we stand for something and we all agree and we want change. But what will be the result of us standing here with our hands up today?
I agree. You should change your Twitter icon. I think that's what you're missing here, Peter.
No, I think it's
like a scab being picked constantly and constantly. It's like these cases happen so many times. I was at a Sean Bell march when we all marched for him. Just a few weeks ago, Eric Garner was killed. There was a young man shot in L.A. 2 days ago in his back.
You know, when I was watching this, the first thing that popped into my head, of course, because of the family reunion, was no one ever marches for the dead Marines or dead Iraqis or dead anybody. There's no outrage. There's no protest. There's 240 people die predominantly from the Netherlands, die in an aircraft. And no one on the street protesting. Yeah, of course, we're happy to blame the guy who's it's clearly. Yeah,
we're shot in the back. That's the deal.
Oh, okay. They weren't shot in the back. They were only downed. It doesn't count if you're downed. You don't get any respect if you're downed. You have to be shot in the back, yes.
And he was unarmed African-American. Over and over and over, we see these things happen, and I think that we become numb to them, we heal, and we move on. And with this Mike Brown thing, it was just like so blatant, so brazen, and we're really upset.
It's not. It's just not so blatant and brazen. I'm just sorry. It's not true. And this is now bothersome as it turns out. From what we know from the police reports, it's not proof either. But what is being reported, and certainly not contradicted at the time, is that he had just robbed the convenience store, and that was before this happened. And then this is how MSNBC just says that is not important. That is not what is important in this, because you've already been given the narrative, you've been given the story. We have no evidence to back it up other than, someone's dead. That's the evidence.
I mean, how much does this complicate things?
This is MSNBC. How much does it complicate things that he just robbed a convenience store before that?
And do you think might this fact,
thank you,
be something that instills uncertainty within this community, which has become a lot calmer overnight?
There's going to be absolutely no uncertainty within this community. The people in the community feel that Michael Brown was murdered in cold blood and left like an animal on the streets. Because some will want to connect.
Left like an animal on the streets. Murdered in cold like an animal on the streets.
He was left? They left him there? They shot him and then just left him there? Is that what he's saying?
That's essentially, I'm sorry to use
animal on the streets.
And just roll it back. Let's make sure we hear it.
I'm sorry I didn't have the buzzer.
Within this community, the people in the community feel that Michael Brown was murdered in cold blood and left like an animal on the streets. Because some will want to connect the fact that he may have stole a pack of cigarillos that cost $1 in a store to his characteristics as a person, whether he was a thug or violent, and which could have led to some sort of violent confrontation with the police. But as the case unfurls, the facts will have to matter. The ballistic evidence will have to matter. And so as we learn more about exactly what happened, I think it'll be clear, what happened in those moments right before that police officer fired that first shot. That's what matters.
Well,
okay.
But this is what MSNBC is doing. And here we have Luke Russert, who is a son of the famous predecessor predecessor to Chip Gregory, who is now out. And isn't it crazy that we went from Chip to Chuck?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Here is Luke Russert, and he does correct himself from what I think is a libelous statement. And I don't. Since he corrects himself, I guess it's okay. But it even.
And you actually, there's a number of exceptions to libel laws, and if you're a news media, you have a defined moment where you can correct yourself, run a correction or whatever, and you won't get charged. But it's interesting that he would make a mistake in the first place.
NBC's Ron Allen joins us live now from Ferguson on more what to expect over the next few hours. And Ron, obviously last night was a real change what we saw a few nights ago. There is a sort of unity between police and protesters, at least in understanding, and peace was there. But the big news this morning is we expect to hear for the first time the name of the officer who was involved in the murder of Michael Brown. Or the killing of Michael Brown.
Oops. But that's the thinking. That is what they're all thinking over there.
Yeah, that's actually a very good catch. In fact, yeah, great catch. They're all thinking murder,
and then
and that's the media.
Yeah, and the president. I did clip a little piece from his interrupting his vacation on Thursday to speak about ISIS, ISIL, take your pick, and what happened in Ferguson.
Never an excuse for violence against police or for those who would use this tragedy as a cover for vandalism or looting. There's also no excuse for police to use excessive force against peaceful protests or to throw protesters in jail for lawfully exercising their First Amendment rights. And here in the United States of America, police should not be bullying or arresting journalists who are just trying to do their jobs.
Yeah, that's what the administration is supposed to do. That police aren't supposed.
His job.
Mr. Risen from Fox, we're supposed to. Yeah, we're supposed to.
Free speech zones around the conventions. Free speech zones.
Yeah, what's
that all about?
Yeah, you can't throw. No, but the police shouldn't be doing it. It's the national government. It's the administration that gets to throw journalists in jail and arrest them and indict them. That's our job, hey?
And report to the American people on what they see on the ground. Put simply, we all need to hold ourselves to a high standard, particularly those of us in positions of authority.
I agree. Right on.
This is the police department. You are violating the state-imposed curfew. You must continue to disperse peacefully, or you will be subject to arrest and/or other actions.
I thought this was a joke. This really is audio from Ferguson. It sounds so authentic. As in like movie authentic.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Play it again.
Okay. Happy to do that.
This is the police department. You are violating the state-imposed curfew. You must continue to disperse peacefully, or you will be subject to arrest and/or other actions.
What's the other action?
Freedom. Subjugation is liberation. Contradiction is truth. Those are the facts of this world, and you will all surrender to them. You pigs in human clothes.
This is the police department.
Yeah, it fits.
You are violating the state-imposed curfew.
It fits perfectly.
It does. You got to make a mashup of those things.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we'll be adding.
Anyway, I don't see that we're contributing anything more than the basic thesis.
No, I don't think so either.
And I don't see any. I didn't get anybody bitching.
Other than the.
I mean, I don't understand why people would complain.
Well, there's something. There's one other thing here. This is St. Louis, the prosecutor, and you recall on Thursday we had a couple clips from some Democrat local politicians, state senators, who in fact claimed that this had been a execution-style shooting.
Yeah, right. Talk about irresponsible.
Yeah. And so they were out in full force, and we had, I don't have a clip. It was uninteresting for me. It was Rachel Maddow had her alter ego, Chris, what's his name? Chris Hayes. Out in the streets in the rain, and he was talking to the same state senators, and they were all saying Robert McCullough has to go. He is the state prosecutor, and when you look this guy up, I remember him back in the day when he had, I think, Axl Rose arrested because he'd beat up some people, which is probably proper. And there was big protests. No, can't have him. And then there was the 2001 Jack in the Box shooting. So it's really an overthrow of all power in St. Louis. Justified or not, that's what it is. It's to get everybody out. And this, of course, is also happening in Texas with Rick Perry.
Yeah, I have the clip that introduces what happened.
Oh, good, because I have my own personal Texas analysis. I'd be happy to do that. Let me find.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it. This is Rick Perry indicted.
Why is it not opening up? Oh, crap.
I could play a little ditty in the meantime.
Oh, hold on. It says, why can't it open Rick Perry indicted? Hold on a second. This is wrong. Because it's 0 bytes.
Oh, that's no good.
No, hold on. Well, we might as well fix this now. Because it says it's 0 bytes. No.
Oh, I have a copy. It says 722.
Yeah, I'm sure you have a copy.
No, I mean, I sent myself the same copy I sent you.
Yeah, no, I know, but for some reason it didn't load properly here. Give me a second. This is what happens when we're in different parts of the world. Okay, Rick Perry indicted. Now I have the whole thing.
We have this news in now out of Texas. Governor Rick Perry was indicted by a grand jury this afternoon on 2 criminal charges: abuse of official capacity and coercion of a public servant. The felony charges stem from the governor's efforts to force the resignation of Travis County District Attorney Rosemary Lemberg. Now, Travis County is where the Texas state capital, Austin, is located. Last year, Lemberg, who is a Democrat, pled guilty to drunken driving, but she refused to resign her position despite calls to do so from the Republican governor. Things came to a head when Governor Perry vetoed millions of dollars of state funding for Lemberg's public integrity unit. That move has now put him in big legal trouble.
Right. This, by the way, was something that was guffawed over at the family reunion as the news came out, and like most of my family are Democrats. I think are lifelong Democrats. Uncle Don, of course, was a Republican and served under multiple Republican presidents, but then became Democrat and voted for Obama twice. I think as a good agency man, that's what you do. It would
well, seem. I don't know about that the first time. As a good agency man, when you have a Republican
he despises 43 George W. Bush. Despises him.
Okay.
Really
but George
hates
W.
him.
Bush didn't run against Al Gore, a military man. Against Obama. A military man ran against Obama by the name of McCain.
Oh, I think he certainly doesn't like McCain. No, he sees through a lot of bullcrap, but I think he kind of fell a bit for the Obama vibe, the idea of we can change something.
He was a softy in his old age.
Well, we'll talk about that. I'm not so sure. But anyway, so everyone's like, "Oh, did you see Rick Perry got indicted?" Yeah, I guess the glasses didn't help him. Abuse of power. Yeah, that doesn't happen anywhere ever. There's no abuse of power. I don't like droning American citizens overseas. No, it's not really an abuse of power or anything, or overstepping your boundary of constitutional rights and privileges and law. So I know a bit about this case because this district attorney, of course locally in Austin, this has been on the news for a long time since this happened almost a year ago when she was arrested. I think it was on Route 2222, which is not a good place to be driving drunk with an open container of vodka. And she was so horrible to the police officers, and she had, I think, like 3 times the legal limit of alcohol, and she was spitting at the cops, and they put a hood on her, the spit mask, because she was spitting at everybody, saying, "I'm not going to stay here more than 6 hours. You know who I am. I'll get out of here." And the problem is she's a Democrat. This is the issue from what I understand, and she headed up the public integrity unit, which the governor can appoint a new person to if she were to go. And she was in jail for I think almost a month. And they're not easy on drunken driving in Texas. They do mess you up, and rightly so. Don't drink and drive in Texas. Certainly not in Austin. But she, is a Democrat, and so you don't really hear about that. It was big news, but not now all of a sudden where he's saying, well, you know what, I got to get rid of this woman one way or the other. She's not going to resign, so I'm just going to veto all funding for her department, the Public Integrity Unit.
Why doesn't he have the right to do that? He's the governor. He can veto things.
Well, I think what now it'll come down to what is the reason. Does he need to have a reason when you veto something? Does the president need a reason to veto?
Governor, you veto. I veto. You don't need a reason. It's not. It's like I plead guilty with an excuse.
I'm sorry. I really didn't mean it. Yeah. Right. Well, this now is seen as it's this big political bomb of he's abusing his power. So, really, this is what you're gonna indict him over when it comes to abuse of power? Forget all the bribery and trying to force
all the real deals.
Force vaccinations on girls with a back end deal into Merck is it Merck that is Gardasil? Yeah, none of that stuff. But then also this woman, sorry, I don't want her being a district attorney. She's insane when she's drunk.
She's probably drunk a lot, or she wouldn't get drunk.
I can't imagine. I don't think I've ever been that drunk. Ever. I've never even been sick from alcohol ever in my life.
You're spitting it. I like the spitting part.
He's just spitting on the cops. Talk about hubris. I'm drunk and I'm spitting on you because I'm the district attorney. Hey, I'll get out of here, don't you worry. But of course, none of that is discussed. It's the abuse of power. Abuse of power.
So everybody at the family reunion was all in on this because they hate Perry because of his glasses?
No, they hate Perry because he's, it's already tough. See, I'm not really from Texas. You're from Austin, so you're okay. Because Austin, of course, is like an oasis in Texas, and this horrible.
This is all part of course, we talked about this on the show a couple of times. We had the original clips of demographers who say that Texas
is a blue state. Yeah, the next state to go completely blue.
It's going to be a blue state as soon as after Georgia turns blue, then Texas is next, and that will be orchestrated through a series of very hard-ass maneuvers, and I think this is one of them.
Yes, but that's not the general narrative, and of course. It's inevitable that guns come up. Well, Texas, you got guns? I said, yeah. But you don't conceal carry, do you? I said, no, I got it in the car, though. Mickey's got one in the car. Oh, really? Yeah.
Well, this brings me to a bunch of clips.
Oh, okay. I do want to talk about the reunion, so let's just make sure we do circle back.
Since you brought up guns.
We got to circle back. Yeah,
I have to. Okay, there's a couple of clips I want to pull here because Bill Ayers was on C-SPAN.
Fresh everyone who Bill Ayers is.
Bill Ayers is the original Weather Underground guy. They armed themselves to the teeth and tried to blow up the Pentagon, and then he was a violent during the 60s and 70s, a violent domestic terrorist who then became a professor of education at the University of Illinois.
By the way, I had the wrong answer. I should have said, I open carry. What are you talking about? My musket.
I'm sorry, I missed all that.
No, when I gave the wrong answer to my family when they said you don't conceal carry, I should have said I open carry with my musket at Target. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. All right, so Bill Ayers apparently also influence on the president, right?
And supposedly they're good. They're old friends and whatever. But whatever the case is, he's just a left-wing ideologue who I actually praised in a show maybe a month ago because he had said some things that I thought were reasonable. But then again, on the more recent thing, he had this debate he had on C-SPAN. I think it was interesting that somebody asked, some Vietnam vet asked him a question that I don't think he expected to get the answer that he did. But that contrasts interestingly to me with a lecture given by this kid who's now an adult. But I first heard this kid He's a fast-talking Orthodox Jew. One way to describe him. And fast-talking, quick-witted is the key. Very annoying guy. You won't like him.
Okay.
His name's Ben Shapiro.
Okay.
And Shapiro is a right-wing Jew, which is unusual in and of itself. And he's one of those kids who graduated when he was 16 and then took a couple, and then he got his degrees and at the big schools. He's a smart guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a writer and he's a speaker. And I first heard him do public speaking when he was like 17 or 16. And he was on C-SPAN and I was watching him as a kid. This was years ago. And I said, oh, this kid's dangerous. And he's just getting more dangerous and he's not even mature yet as far as I can tell. But he does talk about a couple of things on guns. And then I want to play those clips, and then I want to contrast it with the Bill Ayers commentary that it was on a different event. So let's say got Ben Shapiro on guns. I think the one we want is Ben Shapiro on Guns 1.
The American people do not understand a fundamental truth. That fundamental truth is that...
Okay, yes. Right off the bat, you're right. I hate him.
Every government law, every government regulation is backed by a gun. Every one of them. In the end, the EPA regulations on how much water you use in your toilet. If you don't use the proper amount of water in your toilet, the first thing they will do is they will send you a fine. If you refuse to pay the fine, they will put a lien on your property. If you refuse to pay the lien, they will send an agent with a gun to your house to arrest you. And if you resist, they'll shoot you. Every government law is backed by point of gun. And now, if Americans realize this, if it occurred to them that this was the truth, they might be a little bit more careful about what exactly they decided to give people the power to do with a gun. Now, the left has this meme that folks on the right love guns. We love guns. You're right, we do love guns for self-defense. There's only one group in America that loves guns more than folks on the right. Folks on the left who want to use the government gun in order to violate the rights of people on the right. They love guns. They just don't want us to have them.
Wait, isn't this guy one of the Breitbart group?
He writes for Breitbart, among other operations.
All right, got it. That makes sense. Okay.
And so this argument was the kind of argument you could have used
easily. I should have used that. Say, hey, you guys just want to kill the citizens. We just want to, in Texas, we just want to be ready to fight back.
So he has another longer little exposition, which we should play, which is the guns and morality talk. But actually, let's skip that because you don't want to have too much Ben Shapiro in a row. Let's just back off and go to Bill Ayers on the Second Amendment. Now he's having a discussion with this other guy. What's his name? I have to think about it. This Indian guy who's always debating Ayers for some reason, and he
not for Egypt.
They're taking questions from. No. He'd be on Ayers' side. How would he debate him?
Sorry. Right.
No, I got to think of his name in a minute. Anyway, Ayers. Now they're taking questions from the audience, and a Vietnam vet comes up, and this just to me was just I've lost all respect for Bill Ayers on this answer.
Michelle, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure.
You ready?
Hello, my name is Michael Walsh. I'm from Troy, New Hampshire. Mr. Ayers, I lived through your times. I was in Vietnam in '68, the Tet Offensive in the 101st Airborne Division. I came back. You got to hear the other side. I came back and I was at the moratorium in Boston Common. I heard Abby Hoffman speak. We marched down Mass Ave and took over Harvard Square. I had more tear gas that night than I ever had in my life. And you took an armed stance against the United States government. And I might not agree with it, but it took courage to do that. How do you still feel about the right to bear arms? Do I have a right to bear arms, or is it only the government that gets to have guns?
You're asking me about the Second Amendment, I assume? Yeah. I think that I think we've gone way too far, and that we need to find a way to take back some of the extreme kind of gun ownership that exists. It's not a question of I think we should disarm, and I think that means that we should absolutely allow serious background checks, to allow serious kind of limits on what what people are sold. The idea that somehow everybody has a right to a machine gun and that's protected by the Second Amendment is pure folly, and it's ridiculous, and it's leading us in a very dangerous direction.
Mr. D'Souza, would you comment on that, please?
Machine guns are. You don't have a right to a machine gun.
Well, here's the thing. I think you do have a right to a machine gun. By the way, on the other side of the debate was Denise D'Souza, who's always debating him. I think, for one thing, this guy uses guns and weapons to make his points during his protests. But now that he's an establishment guy,
he's an elite.
They're all bad, and this is again the same argument. Now, I've never been convinced about the machine gun argument. Yeah. I don't want people with machine guns, but I don't see that they don't fit into the scheme of things. Before in the 1800s, people had cannons.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what we've talked about before. Was it Joe Frazier?
Joe
or Cassius Clay? I knew you'd love me for that.
It was Cassius Clay.
Come on. Don't I get a ding for that? Come on. That was funny.
You get a ding for Joe Frazier. That was good.
Cassius
I think you can do a callback. It was a very complex callback.
Thank you. It was intricate.
It's a callback removed. It's very, very unique. I've never seen you do that before.
The Aristocrats.
Anyway, now you can play the longer clip of Shapiro because you're getting a little closer to his pacing, and he just excoriates this argument that Bill Ayers just made and talks about how dumb the Republicans are about all this stuff. Shapiro is a very entertaining guy. He's got great arguments that you can twist and use yourself in some way or other. I believe, and I very much enjoy listening to him, even though he's a fast talker. But having gone to Cal Berkeley, this type of pattern is not unknown to me. And this is the clip, Bill Shapiro on guns and morality. It's a long clip.
You have to speak the language of morality. You must speak the language of morality. The left wins because nobody on the left knows anything about politics. They know you're evil. That's it. They know you're a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe who hates the poor.
Yeah, he's right about that. That's pretty much everyone in Texas except in Austin.
Right? That's what they know about you. And it's not they think that about you. They know that about you. Deep down, they know all these evil things about you, which is why Thanksgiving dinners are always so awkward if you're unfortunate to have Jewish relatives or you have friends on the left, which are the exact same focus group. The answer to all of this is to speak in the language of morality. This is why I never say that the government compels people to do stuff. The government does not compel people to do stuff. The government compels people to do stuff at point of gun. Why do I say that? Because leftists are scared of guns. Right? When we say the government compels things, people say, oh, well, compulsion. Well, that's just like taxes, right? No. That's somebody coming to your house in the middle of the night with a SWAT team, with a gun, pointing it at you and dragging you off to prison for not doing what they want. Right? That is what we are facing. Right? When it comes to the left, it's not when we're such idiots, honestly. We were constantly arguing about whether our tax program is more efficient than their tax program. It's not about efficiency. Barack Obama gave the right answer to the wrong question, right? When he was asked in 2008, would you raise the capital gains tax, even if it means less revenue to the government? Would you raise it? He said yes for purposes of fairness.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it meant people were more impoverished, even if it meant people were more poor, the answer was yes for purposes of fairness. Why? Because people don't speak the language of poverty. People don't speak the language of efficiency. People don't speak Mitt Romney's 57-point tax plan. You can't even name 2 points on his 57-point tax plan. People speak the language of fairness and justice and morality. They want to think that they're right and the other guy is wrong. They want to have a feeling of, in many cases, unearned moral superiority based on their opposition to things. This is why everybody was getting off ripping on Donald Sterling for being a crazy old racist coot. Did they accomplish anything? No. But they felt real good because they got to go around telling all their friends that Donald Sterling was a racist old coot. Right? This is what they do. So, speak their language. In other words, next time they say something like, I believe in the minimum wage, then you should say, why exactly is it that you want to put a gun to the head of a business owner and force them to pay something? Why is that okay? Why isn't that violative of basic principles of consent? Like you over here, you like gay marriage because you say that 2 men should be able to wed each other, but those 2 men shouldn't be able to do business with each other in a mutually agreed relationship? So if instead of them having sex, they were actually just, one was signing a check to the other to paint his car, then you're saying that's not okay? And that you're going to take a gun and put it to the head of one of them in order to make that happen? It's because you're a totalitarian.
Huh. Okay.
Anyway, so that's kind of the thing that's the opposite of Bill Ayers. who is and I think that is the argument that it's okay for the government to have all these guns pointing at your head, and you can't have a gun. You can't have a gun.
Well, this is where I get to tell my story briefly. I will abbreviate it because it was not too long ago that we discussed it when the IRS came into my place of business. That it was a company that I had co-founded, and I had been out of the United States for over a decade, and my name showed up on the payroll of my own company. And the IRS agents came in with their hands on their guns and said, "We've been looking for you." About taxes with guns.
Yeah,
that was annoying.
Yeah, no, you've told the story before. It's a disgusting tale.
And I said,
"You're not a tax scammer. You're a straight up honest guy." Well, and you traveled a lot, so you were in and out of the country, and they lost track of you.
Well, no, I was a bad citizen because my tax people in the Netherlands at the time did not file appropriate paperwork. I believe the United States is the only country where you have to file, even if you pay taxes in a different country, which I did, you have to let the government know you did that. And if you didn't, you are immediately accused of being guilty, and you are penalized, as I received a... If you were to look at my credit history, which anyone can do, I believe it says tax lien $134,000, which was their calculation. They just calculated it, and they put that lien on for over a year, garnished my wages from my own company, while I spent tens of thousands of dollars proving that I had just not filed the proper paperwork, but had indeed paid all of the appropriate taxes in the Netherlands and Belgium and in the United Kingdom. And this mark on my record does not go away, I believe, until 2017. Even though it says lien removed, it's still on there. And anyone who looks at my credit, and this is all that's on my credit report at this point, they say, like, well, you have no credit cards, you don't have any credit, no car loans, no mortgage. But you have this tax lien that they went away for 100. No, you're no good. Yeah, I don't care. Except I was not able to get my Hertz Gold car points because I rented a car at JFK.
You didn't get your points?
No, because you have to sign up with a credit card. You can't sign up with a debit card.
Oh. Well, now most of the banks have made them combo cards, so it makes it a little easier.
Nope, no, would not. Hertz does not accept that. And I had a Mechanics Bank credit card, and I think I've never used it, maybe once or twice. There was a $2,000 limit as far as I know. And I use it, and they say, well, no, it's $500 now, so you can't use this for this car because they have to double up in case you, steal the car or whatever. And then we call the bank, and the bank gets the supervisor, and they say, well, can't you just look at my, I got money in the account, No, well, we can request your limit to be raised, but it will take 7 to 10 days. I say, why don't you do that? Well, I cut this card in half, douchebag.
Jeez. Well, anyway. Okay.
All right. So
anyway, guns. Government has guns, and they have lots of them. And now, of course, there's a big scandal going on nationwide about, since they've armed all these police departments with military vehicles and military weaponry.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to rethink the policy, saying the public's getting a little annoyed by this. Annoyed?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, they're not really.
So let's talk about the reunion.
Okay. All right. So a number of characters I need to discuss at this reunion. One of which is, of course, my Uncle Don, who has just released his book, his memoir, Pot Shards.
Pot Shards?
Yes, I'm not crazy about the title, but he was really. I read the introduction. It comes that he collected shards of pottery throughout mainly his tours in Asia, in South Korea and Japan. And it's a subtitle, Fragments of a Life Lived in CIA, the White House, and the Two Koreas.
And people can look him up on the Wikipedia.
Well, I want people to buy this book, and I'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay, I'll buy it.
Oh, no, you must buy it. You really have to.
I must obey.
It's released on ADST D'accord Diplomats and Diplomacy series. This is a publisher who pretty much has no money, no marketing, no publicists, no connections, but they know how to get a book printed and
this might be really a good book then.
Oh yeah,
because apparently none of the big publishers wanted to touch it.
No one wants to touch it, and it's easy to tell you why. However, he does have some nice blurbs on the back.
Yeah, well, anyone get blurbs.
Tim Weiner, author of one of our favorite books, Legacy of Ashes, The History of the CIA. He says, Donald Gregg's career, CIA station chief, United States ambassador, national security advisor to George H.W. Bush, would make a great spy novel. This autobiography makes an even better book. No American knows more about North Korea. Few have seen the mechanics of the U.S. intelligence community with greater clarity. Essential reading for anyone who cares about our country and its foreign policies. And then, of course, he has, Christopher Buckley writes a blurb. Of course, Christopher was married to his daughter, Lucy, so that doesn't count, I don't think. I think that was easy to get him. And then the P.S. Nicholas Dumovic, staff historian, CIA Center for the Study of Intelligence. And I know that he went through a lot of trouble. Of course, the CIA has to vet these kind of books. And I think the biggest problem is he wanted to write about his decade in Japan. His two daughters were born in Japan, but the CIA initially, from what I understand, said, you can't write about Japan at all. I'm like, what? It's not like a big secret that he was living in Japan.
What was they
no idea what the issue was. No idea.
Well, when does this book come out?
It's out. It's out now. You can get it on Amazon.
Where do you get it? Amazon. I'm on Amazon now. I don't see any evidence that it's here.
Did you look for Donald Gregg, Gregg? I got it from Amazon. I have it from Amazon.
Wait a minute. I just put Don Gregg.
You should probably do Donald. Yeah.
Pot Shards. Okay, yeah. You got it.
And get the hardcover. And he actually, so I brought mine after I read it cover to cover, and I said, would you please write something in for me? He did. He said, to Adam, so glad you dropped out of Salem College. With cheers and great admiration. Yeah, he thinks it's great. I'm a dropout. That's pretty cool.
Jeez.
Okay, so
I'm buying the book as we speak.
Good. I had a lot of opportunity to talk to Don, and he specifically wanted to talk to me about marketing of the book. And I said, Don, look, you got a problem. He said, yeah, I know. The problem is, in your book, and there's a number of things that are worth discussing, particularly Iran-Contra, which he was implicated in and intimately involved in, and I think got screwed for his whatever involvement he had, and he's quite clear about that. But the problem is North Korea. In North Korea, he's very clear, which was the message that we played when he was on Fareed Zakaria, who, by the way, is not inviting him back to come talk about his book. Because he went on CNN, Fareed Zakaria, and said, we got to stop this insanity with North Korea. These people just want to have peace. They don't want armistice. They want to have peace. They don't want to be seen as villains. They want to have international trade. And, yeah, they want to have nuclear facilities if they feel like it. But they just want to talk. And, by the way, there's some issues with the Japanese. Don is very unhappy with Abe and the new military change in the Constitution, when, of course, there's some issues that there's never been an apology for some of the things the Japanese have done towards the Koreans and China. And that's rarely even brought up. And I said,
brought up by the Chinese and the Koreans.
Yeah, but not here in the United States or in the West. It's not really discussed that way. And
sounds like Don's gone rogue.
Well, this is the problem. And I said, this is the problem. He says, yeah, I know. So there's avenues that you can take, and we may be able to find somebody. And I said, you could always try that Glenn Greenwald guy. he didn't even respond to that, man. He's just like, yeah, no, all right. But this book, you like the book, I think, John. A lot. Uncle Don is a top or was. And still is, I think, pretty good. But, he's now 86, top-class tennis player. And he's won many, many tournaments and has played pros throughout his life. And he describes one game that he played, and with Meg, with my aunt and his wife, they played doubles against Zbigniew Brzezinski at one of Zbig's dinner parties afternoons, and Meg and Don were much stronger than Zbig and his wife, and Meg, who should write her own book, she whispered to Don, like, hey, maybe we should ease up a little bit. And Don's like, no, screw it, let's beat him. And they just creamed him. And they were never invited back to Zbigniew Brzezinski's house for dinner ever again. But then 20 years later, he's on some mission with, maybe it was Zbigniew with, when, who was, that was with Carter. And Don was, I think, national counterintelligence officer or something. I
think he was in the agency at the time.
Well, yeah. Well, reading the book, I don't think he ever gets out of the agency. He just roams around with different, you get different positions, as a quote unquote civilian in the White House or whatever. And Zbigniew invited him up and said, hey, let's play some chess. And Don was, as he writes in the book, playing way above his grade. Then he made a big mistake. Zbig beat him with the second one, and then said, it makes up for the tennis match. So Zbigniew was a guy who clearly holds a grudge for a long time. Anyway,
and with tennis and things like that, yeah, that guy's a peach. That shows what a peach you are. You play a pickup game of basketball or horse, and you lose, and you hold a grudge for the rest of your life.
Horse. I hate it when I lose at horse. It's very bad. So but what Don did say is, I said, well, what do you want? And he said, well, this is a Don Gregg question. I said, yeah, that's why I'm asking you. What do you really want? He said, well, first I want the book to be taken seriously. Well, I think every writer wants that. He said, and I'd really just like to be, he's going to do the Brookings, speech at the Brookings Institute on the 23rd, which I'm invited to. I might have to go to that. Might be kind of cool to be in the audience at the Brookings Institute. But he says what he would really like, because he does like him, he would love to be on Morning Joe with Zbig and talk about North Korea. I was like, okay, I'll mention it on the show. You never know if there's a producer out there who's going to say that's a great idea. And I think that those two would be pretty funny together. If Zbigniew was in studio and not just on his Skype connection or whatever he is.
If he'd hire some publicist who has access to all these bookers, he'd get on a lot of shows.
I know, but they don't have these. They're retired. They don't have the money to hire a publicist, nor does the publisher have any money to market this thing. That's the problem. He had a whole stack of books. Everyone wanted a book, had to buy it from them. They can't afford to give away hardcover books anymore. Well, you laugh, but I don't.
Selling books at the family reunion on a table?
Almost. But it was, I found it to be humiliating, because the guy's, he's one of the most patriotic people I know, who's done incredible things for the United States. And is very honest and open about what he's done.
You vote for Obama, this is what happens.
This is what you get. We turn in, man. That's it. And so the other thing in the book that I did want to talk about, which is, you got to appreciate this guy. So I think we talked on the previous episode about Felix Rodriguez, who was involved in Iran-Contra. And he's also the guy involved in the torture at Gitmo. So Don describes his dealings with Felix in Vietnam, when he was stationed with Meg, and it's a great. I should have bookmarked it. I'll see if I can. Maybe I'll read that. But it's like one paragraph that's great. They would have like a dinner party. He was a diplomat as well as station chief or whatever. And they had a dinner party, and then Felix would drop by, still wearing his flak jacket, smoke coming out of his hair, hand grenades strapped to his belt. He would come clunking in like, "Hey, I'm here for the party." He'd just come from the helicopter from God knows what combat, and they went through a lot of things together. And he was very loyal to Felix. But I think the mistake that he made in this whole Iran-Contra thing is he introduced Felix to his boss, HW, and that somehow made HW. He had no plausible deniability of not knowing what Oliver North was up to, who was really the guy who was doing a lot of this Iran-Contra work. And he does a pretty good job of explaining it in the book, but maybe not to the satisfaction.
That was a screw up.
Yeah. He's a screw up, and he got screwed over it. That's really what happened. And I think it's guys like Ollie North who were the a-holes in this, and they tried to get away with everything. And anyway, one other thing I want to mention about the book, it starts off in the beginning. He met my Aunt Meg in 1951, I think. And she was working at CIA, too. I didn't know that she was in Russian ops. She speaks Russian.
Oh.
I didn't know this about my Aunt Meg.
Every time you go to one of these events, you find out something new.
And it's fabulous. I'm like, hey, Aunt Meg. Let's talk. So no wonder everyone's all messed up over Putin over there in the family. Putin. Everyone's just crazy about Putin. Okay, so but this was lovely, and we had a nice speech. Now Christina's with me, which is really great. She flew in from Rotterdam to be here, and she has no brothers or sisters, and she has one direct cousin, Patricia's sister, as a daughter. And that's really, so Christina has never really felt that she had family, but now everyone's kind of age, and a lot of people came from the other sides of the clan, and there must have been 20 kids between 18 and 30. And they all kind of look the same, and she's like, Dad, not only do we kind of look alike, but they're all on the spectrum. They're all messed up. We've all got tics and Tourette's and depression, and we're all crazy. We're all but we're also really fun to be around, and we've got talents. We can play from memory classical pieces of music, and everyone has some kind of superpower, but we're all kind of messed up. I said, yeah, there you go. This is your family. Welcome to it. But that was nice. It was nice to see her bond with the family that she had never really interacted with. As weird as that may sound. Oh!
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, I heard it too. Sorry. Okay.
All right.
Two more. Well,
let's get.
Well, one more important thing.
Wait.
I've one uncle we have not discussed.
Okay.
Uncle Ren. Renwick is his full name.
Okay.
We call him Rennie. And Rennie is my dad's brother, and so he's a couple years older, but he is still the third. The 4 kids, and so he was almost the youngest. My dad is the youngest, and Ren was next. And I haven't really talked about him a lot on the show because I didn't get to sit down with him for such a long time, but I remember why I like him so much. He is a certified rocket scientist and worked his entire life for NASA. And I finally got, and by the way, big John C. Dvorak fan. And still lives out in California. And he's retired, and he flies Piper Cubs around with his buddies, and but he follows everything. And he
a ham?
He's not a ham, no. But
surprising.
But he is a certified rocket scientist, and in 1963 he was sending spacecraft to Mars. Now he said we crashed them into Mars, basically. We had an 8-bit transmission line that came back with some huge latency, 8-bit. So that was the speed, 8 bits per second of transmission. And so in '63, they were trying to get stuff around Mars, and they would send no video data or anything like that, but they were sending some stuff back. And well, you understand, of course, that I had to start asking a few questions.
Yeah, like the Israeli moon bases.
Well, I asked specifically. I said, do you tell me about the real moon bases? We know that that whole initial thing was a hoax, and it's funny. So he's going like, well, there really is no evidence that they landed. I don't really have any evidence of that. Wait a minute. Are you from NASA? Are you really telling me this? He said, well, yeah, I'm with you, Adam. I don't have actual evidence that that we landed, and it was pretty unsophisticated. I thought it was pretty cool how just a few years before we were crashing spacecraft into planets to try and get some data, and then 5 years later, these guys had a thing that landed like science fiction with 4 legs and the lunar module. So that was pretty impressive. And so he also was very perturbed about the erased video of the moon landing that NASA no longer has an original copy. He also finds it very annoying. But here's the thing that I found the most interesting. I said, well, what do you think of Elon Musk? He says he is the modern day P.T. Barnum.
Yeah.
I thank you. He said, that guy's a jabroni. He's a great marketer. He's full of crap. He's showing stuff from 100 years old, and then he's getting people to fund it. And P.T. Barnum, very good at marketing, nothing else. I thought that's pretty cool. That's my Uncle Ren, the official rocket scientist.
That's an interesting guy.
Absolutely. So we'll get more from Ren.
I should meet up with him if he's in the area.
Oh, he probably
should listen to the show.
You would be surprised how many
listen to the show.
You'd be surprised how many people. A lot of people are listening to this very episode. You can trust that. So be careful.
Okay. Well, here's the question that I thought. This is where I would hope you'd gone, and I'm going to ask you if you did, which is you go to your aunt and begin to ask her about Putin, because she understands Russian and she probably follows this still. She wouldn't. People tend to. It's not like, you get into something like Russian analysis. You probably would stay with it just as a hobby.
You have to understand, Meg. She is not someone who will answer a question directly. She will come to you later and give you kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And that's what I was waiting for, because I did open up the conversation
about Putin.
Yeah, and she gave me kind of it's so hard to explain unless you've met them. And she's 6'1", this is a statuesque woman, and ambassador, wife, just everything, but also a complete in the know of everything, and has learned to not say anything. But she typically would give me something, wink, wink, nudge, nudge somewhere. But that did not happen. I think I have to return. And I'm always very welcome to return, of course, to get more information. And what was lovely is Mickey had arranged for a 50th birthday cake to be presented right after the dinner, which everyone enjoyed eating. And I felt like an old man. I was that guy now. Yeah, I was that guy now. Hey, he's turning 50. Yeah, it's for me.
Let's eat some of his cake.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up Rodriguez. The guy.
I'm sorry, I missed some of that.
I said I'm mixing up Rodriguez with the newer guy whose name I think is also Rodriguez.
Yeah,
anyway.
I'm pretty sure he did mix up Rodriguez because he's not. He did not do the torture. In fact, there's
he's out of the business. But this new guy was similar.
There's quite a bit about torture in the book.
Yeah,
and when Don specifically disregarded orders and could have ruined his career, but felt it was better for what he was doing at the time. This is a good guy. Maybe not everything he did we would do today, but you can. I think as someone who in Washington D.C. during the Cuban Missile Crisis, with his neighbors, scoped out where they would hide in the basement, because people really believed that was going to happen, and it's quite possible it was close to happening, that the Russian missiles would, nuclear holocaust would ensue. And he writes about one evening coming home, driving over the Beltway, and it was kind of one of those little hills you go up, and he saw a spark in the middle of D.C., and he realized later it was probably a train hitting a third rail, or some electrical spark from a train. And he, at that moment, had this. It started. They've bombed Washington D.C. Can you imagine?
It wouldn't be fun.
So that fear was real, and people responded in certain ways back then. Now, of course, we know.
So you didn't get any intelligence, though.
Nothing I can mention on the show.
Well, I would hopefully maybe Meg will be listening, and she could listen to this clip, which is the Russians coming to Ukraine, what I believe is a bogus story that was on Van Cat.
Okay. Let me see what we have. Yeah, got it.
And in fact, let me set it up.
Okay.
As you listen to this story, ask yourself, Putin denies this ever happened, by the way, and he may or may not be right. Putin may lie. But ask yourself why nobody in this modern era, and I think you have to ask this with all stories, if you're boots on the ground or anything else and you're watching something, why aren't you making a video transcription?
Cross-border tensions continue to...
I'm sorry, you want me to stop again?
I was going to say everybody has one of these in their pocket.
Cross-border tensions continue to mount. Ukraine says its troops destroyed part of a Russian column of armoured vehicles that had crept across the border.
This column was followed. Our reconnaissance forces had it under surveillance. Appropriate action was taken, and part of it has been neutralised.
NATO backed reports of what it called a Russian incursion near Izvorian in an area controlled by pro-Russian separatists. Moscow has denied the accusation. Correspondent Sean Walker told France 24 he witnessed Russian personnel carriers entering Ukraine on Thursday night.
We spotted a column of about 23 armoured vehicles, also was accompanied by support vehicles which had official Russian military number plates. And they waited by the side of the road close to the border until it got dark, and then they crossed over the border and into Ukraine. We actually saw that happening.
Wait, there's no YouTube video we can look at?
There's nothing. I mean, I haven't seen anything, and these guys didn't show anything. But they were standing... They were watching, and then it happened, and nobody bothered to make a recording of it or take a photo.
No. Why bother? Yeah, this is very disturbing, the lack of evidence in any form whatsoever now. And you tweeted something you responded to a tweet from our ambassador to the United Nations, Samantha Powers, and you put that in a newsletter, appropriately so. And she's also just saying stuff which there's not even photographic evidence at this point about ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it. Well,
another thing, let's look at that tweet. I had it in the newsletter. I think it's probably still on Twitter. Let me get it. And I did make a comment. I was the first to comment on it.
Yes, that was kind of cool to see you at the top of the list. Notice she didn't return any the courtesy.
No, of course not. What was she saying anything to a schmuck like me?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, she doesn't actually, and she's not a very good tweeter because she doesn't get into dialogues, and Twitter's largely about dialogue.
How
and so
are these people tone deaf? Do they tweet this out and not see that the majority of the tweets are either saying, "Oh yeah, like you're not funding ISIS, ISIL, whatever you want to call it, advertising"?
No, I know all the responses to this tweet. I'm going to read the tweet. All the responses to this tweet, I believe 90% of them are negative. And she doesn't respond to any of them one way or the other.
John's gonna read his tweets.
So Samantha Power tweets, met a bishop today who described ISIL attack on Mosul Hospital. Both of those are hashtagged. Christian who wouldn't convert, shot in head. 2 who did convert, had throats slit. Okay, now this just doesn't sound right under any circumstances. Because for one thing,
if you convert, then you're supposed to not have your throat slit. You get to live.
Yeah, that would be the idea. And of course, the Christians generally, as we had in the clip of the last show, are allowed to have a choice of converting or paying taxes, paying money, a bribe.
Right. Yes.
And which is a very common, the most extreme of Muslim cults allow this because it's part of the culture. I immediately responded, shameful gossip designed to escalate violence. Where is the evidence? Photos, reports, Chaldean or what sort of Christian? And by the way, I was mispronouncing Chaldean as Caladian, I think, in the last show when somebody called me out on it. Anyway, and Chaldeans would be the Christians generally over there. And then it goes on with other people bitching. It was the U.S. helps ISIL in Syria. Everybody knows that. Don't you think that that's a wrong position? I mean, just amoral behavior on our fellow humans cannot and must not ever be condoned. The idiot. Please advise your government to use its military power to defeat the caliphate using all means necessary.
No, I liked a lot of that. Whenever they come back to that, it's just the caliphate. We have another one.
No longer shocked. It's no longer shock to all dirty politics is what you can only do. I guess showing dead people on TV will be the next move, right? What do you think these murderous neo-Nazis you are sponsoring in the Ukraine with my tax money are doing?
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one. That was good.
Yeah. And then the Assyrian genocide tweets in, Ninbazi, ISIS is massacring the Assyrians. Please acknowledge that. And there's it goes on and on with these.
No, we can't be acknowledging any of that.
And that she doesn't respond to one of them.
No, of course.
There's no. I actually doubt that she even does
it herself. Exactly. So I have two clips. I have two clips that relate to this. So this is part of the setup. It is just being propagated to bring up a story. Whatever we do, let's not talk about the big oil and gas conference coming up September 1 through 4. Let's not talk about how beautiful the city of Erbil is, how modern it is, how all the headquarters of Western oil companies are there, how one of the two major refineries is there, how the Kurdish oil is being refined and blown up through the pipelines out to Turkey from all around there. Don did say one thing. He said, Adam, I know you've been in Iraq. I've never been in Iraq, but I've been around enough to know this never made any sense. That region is not Iraq. It's not a country. It was nice to hear him say that. It's not a country. It's tribes. And now we're finally seeing the way it should be, which is like, oops, okay. Here is NBC promoting the religious meme. Apparently, they found some Yazidis in Lincoln, Nebraska, who are getting up-to-date information on this horrible atrocity. Hands up, don't shoot, we're Yazidis.
As the humanitarian crisis plays out in northern Iraq, claims tonight of another massacre by ISIS militants. Reports that 80 members of the minority Yazidi community were killed in a village in that region.
Why don't we have video? They've got videos of them shooting up, tanks or trucks, and they have video of that, and they have video dropping food and water, and we have video of helicopters going down, but we don't have video of this.
It was fears of such attacks that drove thousands of Yazidis onto a mountain in northern Iraq and prompted this week's U.S. bombing campaign. And all of this has people here in this country's biggest Yazidi community.
It's bullcrap.
On edge.
At a bucolic park in Lincoln, Nebraska, the stories and the tears pour out. Everyone has had family members murdered by ISIS terrorists or are still missing.
They don't know if they're still alive or they killed them.
Notice the setup to that. So the setup is everyone has someone murdered or they know who's been murdered. And then the appropriate soundbite would be, my uncle was murdered. That's not the soundbite that comes back, though. This is horrible journalism.
These terrorists or are still missing.
They don't know if they're still alive or they killed them.
Elias came to the U.S. 8 months ago with his family. When he called his brother in Iraq, a member of ISIS answered.
I love this one. Hello? I'm sorry to make a joke. I'm sorry to make a joke about this. That's crazy. That's like when you call home and you expect your wife to answer like, we have her. We've got her. And then I remember ISIS answered the cell phone, or what happened there? Hello, this is ISIS. We have you. We have your brother.
When he called his brother in Iraq, a member of ISIS answered.
They tell you who they are.
Yeah, if somebody is not coming to convert to the Muslims, we're gonna kill them.
Julius gave
another. Also, where he didn't. I wanted to hear what they. I wanted to hear what they said. He said, you know who they are? And he said, yeah, if you don't convert, they'll kill you. But she's just reading a script that has no bearing on what he's saying or any of these people are saying.
This is a bunch of bull crap.
This is NBC.
He's not coming to the...
Well, let me move you back a little bit. I thought that was very interesting.
They tell you who they are.
Yeah, if somebody is not coming to convert to the Muslims, we're going to kill them.
So she's saying something very different, and he's not agreeing. He's saying if you don't convert to Muslims, we're going to. And it could be any kind of quote. He could be talking about what some crazy Islamicists do. Not necessarily what happened to him or his brother, but okay, we'll believe this hack job.
Julie escaped a refugee camp.
Now, she's sexy. Here's a school teacher, and she's good looking. She got, sleeveless thing on.
During the first Gulf War, and is now a fourth grade teacher in Lincoln. Her uncle sent video of the school where he lives with 700 others who escaped off Mount Sinjar.
Cue a video of children running in sand.
He tells her horrifying stories about a market run by ISIS.
There's
no video from the uncle talking about it, but here she is.
Selling Yazidi women in the Talafar market right now for about a couple of dollars.
They are selling Yazidi women in the market.
Oh, brother.
I know I shouldn't be laughing because that's what people start. You a-hole, Curry. You're left.
This is bull crap.
I love it. They're selling, seriously, a couple of dollars? What is it, Jip? How can it be only a couple of dollars? So the ISIS guys who are riding multi-million-dollar tanks, they're sitting on top of rockets that cost at least $1 million each. They're driving it around, which they found. They got $400 million that they found, and yet they're selling women in the market for a couple of dollars. You can't. I have to believe one or the other. I can't. It doesn't all fit together for me.
They're selling Yazidi women in the Talafar market right now for about a couple of dollars.
About 700 Yazidis now live in Nebraska, the largest population in the U.S.
They are citizens. I got 2 boys. They born here.
But family and faith tie them to the tragedy still unfolding more than 6,000 miles away.
Okay. So we'll just go along with your game. Please, again, say nothing about what's actually going on with the resource, the extractives, as our man Kerry would call them. Please, let's not mention any of that or anything that's going on with the oil business or really splitting up Iraq or rubbleizing the whole place as is what really the plan is. And now we have, I guess because State Department is so lame and... What's that? What's that?
It's the Yazidis.
Are you playing clips now?
No, I went to YouTube. I was looking at the Yazidi Holy Day celebrations. The group is in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah,
and there's a chunk of them, I guess. And there's one here. They're wearing Arab outfits, at least in this clip.
The chat room was saying
the head thing.
The chat room was saying this is good for Bitcoin because if the Yazidi woman only costs a couple of bucks, they should be accepting Bitcoin for.
Here's a documentary by Etzer Spate, Following the Peacock.
Oh, please!
And it's about the. Okay, I'll have to look into this a little more. It's very sketchy. The Yazidis are a sub segment of the Muslims to begin with. It's very apparent, and most of this is I don't know what they're trying to pull here on us, but it's something.
Well, there's a number of things.
It's a distraction. It's totally a distraction.
Well, it's distracted from.
And
what
the beginning of that report, I want to just mention this: the beginning of that report, which says that the reason for the bombing that we took. That the Americans did, it was triggered by the Yazidis up in the mountains. When it's clear that it wasn't triggered by that at all. It was to protect the American interests in that town.
Yeah, we're not talking about that anymore. That's not how we do it. Now, so we have this sergeant at arms master, whatever his name is, Kirby, who's the spokeshole for the Pentagon. Now, this is starting to get interesting. Because if you have a person, and Josh Earnest for the White House, this guy, he needs to go. He has no presence. He has no voice. He's nothing. So Kirby is kind of a guy to watch. He's the spokeshole for the Department of Defense. Although he's messing, he can't figure out ISIS, ISIL. He doesn't know what to do there either. No one has got the branding down. I don't know why they can't just... Everyone's worried that the public, for some reason, won't understand. We tried ISIL, and then we went to try to make it easy with IS. But the news networks are too dumb. They keep saying ISIS, and no one wants to get with the program. But if you have a guy from the Pentagon, do you want some like language? Like, do you want people to say we're going to kick their ass, which clearly Marie Harf, she never could come out and say, yeah, our mission is to destroy ISIS, to decimate them, to get rid of them. Don't you want a guy from the Pentagon to say something like that?
I would think so. And I want to just say, just as a quick aside, Marie Harf, I was going through the tweets. She does Follow Friday.
Oh, my God. And are we on her list?
Hashtag FF.
Oh, God.
No, some Iraqi guy she put on there.
Okay.
Follow Friday. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on. Yeah, no, you want some guy that sounds tough.
Can you talk about the threat that you're seeing to Erbil now after like 6 or 7 days now of strikes? Is the threat as pressing as it was when all these strikes began?
We think that we've had a disruptive effect on ISIL's ability to threaten Erbil, but we don't believe that it's been completely eliminated. It's difficult to know what their intent is exactly with respect to Erbil, so we're watching it very closely. We have, as you know, we have a joint operations center there, we have a consulate there, we have responsibilities to American citizens and facilities, and we're not going to let go on that. But I can't give you, what I would tell you is we still believe that Erbil faces threats from ISIL. It's just unclear exactly what their full intent is, and that's point one. Point two, we know we've disrupted their ability to threaten ISIL. We certainly put a hurting on them with respect to...
We put a hurting on them. John! We came in, we put a hurting.
At least have somebody,
put a hurting on him.
A male voice that has actually had his voice change, through puberty.
We put a hurting on him. Oh, man, we put a hurting on him.
Their activities in and around Erbil. And we'll continue to do that as needed.
We'll bring the hurt. We put a hurting on them. What kind of talk is this?
I don't know.
They so desperately want to be the badass guys, but then we'll put the hurt on them. We haven't quite gotten rid of them, but we'll put the hurt on them.
Yeah, I think our original thesis, this is an American operation, the whole ISIL thing.
Yeah.
Maybe looks more and more correct as time goes by.
Absolutely. It is. It's leftovers from Syria, leftovers from Libya, passed on through all the stuff, our weapons. Look at their uniforms. They got great uniforms. They got
right, and that Oakland Raiders flag that they got.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, John, here from FEMA Region 2, I want to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak.
Well, and it's about time to say in the morning, because I want to say in the morning to you, Adam Curry, in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And I want to thank our human resources in the chat room, noagendastream.com. I want to thank our artists. We have a big thank you to our artist for episode 643, Memphis Jeff, who I do not believe Memphis Jeff has ever done artwork for the show that I can remember.
I don't recall him. If he did, it was a while back.
And we, of course, appreciate all the work that our artists do. You can see everything that's submitted at noagendaartgenerator.com. And we look forward, as always, to what we can see for today's artwork. It's very important, the artwork for each individual program.
We do have a few people to thank for being executive producers and associate executive producers for show 644. Including Biz Skits, who was an Insta-Night.
Wow.
Don Tommaso di Toronto, of course, he's an Insta. There's already been a night, I believe. He's onward with a donation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is my personal favorite donation.
Nice.
From Don Tommaso di Toronto, buongiorno, John and Adam. This is my donation to the best podcast in the universe. Your analysis has been outstanding lately. Not only do I get to hear unique perspectives on current events, I get a chuckle while doing so.
Hey.
Is there more to this note?
I don't have any more. That's all I can check. I'm also kind of handicapped in my...
Oh, well, let me take a look on my side.
I also get a good shot. I'm going through this as far as I can. Yeah, and when doing, I didn't have the so. I have when doing. I also get a good chuckle when doing.
That's where mine ends too. I ad-libbed the end.
Excellent.
Okay, hold on. We got a minute. Let me just do a quick look in the email and see if there's anything from Biz Sketch. Just put Biz on here. Of course, it'd be coming in from a different email. Yeah. Biscuits is here, and he would come in with.
And this is a what? Don't we have a name for this? This
Tom.
This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 donation. Don't we have a name for this? This isn't a.
I wish. Well, let's think of something.
Happy Days is what I call it.
Good for Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Tom. It's Tom. I won't give his email out, but Tom at something, and I'll look him up that way. Okay, a lot of Toms. There he is. PayPal, no truncated. That's right. I think I printed this out.
Okay.
Here's my donation to the Bedcast. Get a good chuckle while doing so. I've not heard the Clooney is a spy jingle in some time, so I want to request that and a simple shot of karma for the two of you. Your humble servant from the north. DT.
Okay. All right. So that's what we needed. Although I do think we played that recently, but not a problem. Happy to do it again.
George Clooney is a spy.
You've got karma.
And thank you very much, Tom. Highly appreciated.
Funny, he's got DT. Because we have another guy came in with DJ Day. Okay. A lot of strange people coming in with strange names. Anyway, thanks, Tom. Highly appreciated. If you want some sort of extra, I think he wants, I don't know, he must be do something by now. Sir Dwayne Melanson, the Duke of Mystery from Tigard, Oregon.
Yeah, good to hear him back. Yeah.
Late 3:33. Duke of Mystery here. I am sending a boom donation of $80.03 and challenge all Oregonians to chip in with $80.03 or $30.08. Boom shakalaka donation.
Okay.
I'll waive sales tax and make other people pump your gas in Oregon to make this easier.
Dingo, boom, boom, shakalaka, boom, 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 shakalaka, boom, boom.
You've got karma.
Thank you, sir.
So in Oregon, you can't pump your own gas; it's illegal, and so they employ people to pump gas like they used to be in the olden days. And there's no sales tax in Oregon, so it creates a very interesting situation on the border. Because in Washington State, there's no personal income tax.
Right.
In Oregon, there's personal income tax, but no sales tax.
How confusing.
So the smart money lives up in Washington on the border.
And gets gas in Oregon.
And no, they buy stuff in Oregon because there's no sales tax.
Right, okay.
So you buy your cars, furniture, groceries,
so whatever you want. What I would do is I would have, what's the main road people travel on between the two states?
5.
The 5. I would have a thin wire that would decapitate anyone crossing the road with their goods.
Well, they want to start charging $100 or something toll for people that do this, which is not going to go over because people do have to go there for other reasons, just to buy groceries.
Right.
It's a minor inconvenience. And of course, the Oregonians are of the sort that they actually live on their side of the border and shop in Washington.
Okay.
Only people in Washington will think that's funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
I clearly didn't get it.
Yeah, no, it's very funny. Chris Spears in Austin, Texas, right up the street from you, $222.22. Hi, John and Adam. As always, hope to get some value for value, and I hope this finds you well. Please de-douche me for the relief I felt when John finally accepted my LinkedIn invitation. It is appropriate that Lord.
Sorry,
I'm sorry. Go on, de-douche him.
You've been de-douched.
It is appropriate that Lord Dvorak asks for my obedience. Regards, Chris.
You see, this is why I should have waited.
You will obey.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of good. Do a live one. I like that. That's good.
You will obey. You will obey. You will obey.
And we'll hand him a karma while he's at it. Might as well.
You've got karma.
Jaap Geelhoed.
Jaap Geelhoed.
$222.22, the second one in a row from Holland. Herewith, Livia and I nominate our newborn boy from Brazil, my just-reached night ship, as Sir Eric of the Amazon, and please add to the list Mother's Milk and Red Pills.
Okay.
Pictures can be found on ruleflower.com. I'm sorry, rulefollower.com. And please don't eat me. So he wants a please don't eat me LGY Leo Science Karma.
Okay, hold on a second. For what is the thing I have to add? I have to add what do I have to add to the rewards?
Mother's Milk and Red Pills.
Okay, hold on. Really? Mother's Milk and Red Pills. Holy moly, people. We're going to try and keep these donation sequences down a little bit. So he wants Rule Follower, Don't Eat Me Hillary, LGY, and then...
No. He doesn't know. Rulefollower.com is his thing. He wants just Don't Eat Me, LGY, Leo Science Karma. Those are 4.
Leo Science Karma. Okay. All right. I'm going to do the rule. I got the Rule Follower lined up anyway.
I'm a rule follower, so if the rule is that we have to do it, then I'll do it.
Don't eat me, Hillary Clinton. Yay!
Science. Oh, I'm sorry. And then, of course, a karma. Leo came too fast.
You've got karma.
Heyo.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Luke Rayner, $204.56 from Blackstock Road in London, UK. I knew it was time to donate again when I inadvertently pronounced the word attach as attaché while reading something aloud. This donation makes me a knight, as I regularly donate asking for karma for my bike events. I'd like to be known as Sir Luke of London, the knight on a bike.
Okay.
It's taken me just under 3 years, and I'm proud to have supported you guys to the level of knighthood. Please give a karma shout-out for my next bike event.
This is fantastic.
The Hertfordshire 100 on the Sunday, the 24th of August. I want everyone involved to have an enjoyable, injury-free, puncture-free, happy day. Keep up the good work, and I hope one day to become a Grand Duke. Luke the Duke has a certain ring to it.
Certainly does. And this is so nice to hear that these long-term supporters of the show, it really does work. It does happen. You can get to the knighthood. It doesn't, you can do this over many, many episodes, many years. And it's just as valid. And you get the ring and you get the certificate. And we're very, very happy. And we'll be welcoming Luke, Sir Luke of London, the knight on a bike, to the round table later on today during the show. Congratulations.
You've got karma.
Very, very happy, Luke. Very happy. That's it, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Dvorak.org/NA if you want to help us out on the show coming up on Thursday. This day actually was saved by old Tom up there, Biscuits, Don Tommaso di Toronto.
Yeah.
And I would encourage people to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think but we don't have a name for it. Somebody needs to name this for us.
Who has done it before? I thought we did have a name for it, but
it's been done about 3 or 4 times.
It could be a miss.
3, 4, 5, 6. I know a lot of people do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
It's the 6. That's the
one. That's the one.
That's what we want. That's the 6.
Thank you all very much. These are official credits, as you know. They can be used anywhere credits are accepted, and especially LinkedIn works very, very well. And unlike the phonies in Hollywood, we are very happy to vouch for you if you need that, so we can say, yes, indeed, this person was an executive producer or associate executive producer of the best podcast in the universe.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And of course, we always need you to go out there and do the important work of propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
Very nice. Let's see. We have. It was very difficult, of course, for me to do the type of preparation that I usually like to bring to the table, for the reasons just purely for travel and.
Yeah, it's an inconvenience.
It's somewhat of an inconvenience, yeah.
Well, the inconvenience is the travel time. You have to go to the airport. Hey, you went to the airport.
I forgot to mention.
I have airport stories too because I went to Canada.
Well, I'll tell you why don't you tell your Scandinavia story? And maybe I can lead in. Maybe I can lead in.
I got TSA opt out, whatever it's called, in, out, and the other.
What did you do? You opted out.
I didn't opt out. I didn't have to because I had pre-check.
You got pre-check
on both ways.
You got that. You were part of the randomly chosen because you are not an actual trusted traveler. You have not gone through the security check and had your fingerprints taken and an interview about hair bands from the 80s like I had. You have not done this.
No.
Yet you received a pre-check as if you are a trusted traveler.
Yeah, both ways.
And you should certainly be excluded from any trusted traveler because you're a troublemaker.
Well, I think people could say that. Whatever the case is, I had it anyway. So I go to the pre-check, and the way out, the pre-check line is now getting to be a joke. It's really long.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way out, I counted, we had 30 people in the pre-check line and 18 people in the regular line. And the pre-check line was a bottleneck because it all went through the one thing, and there was a guy screaming at everybody. And it's kind of ironic because of this, what they were screaming. Don't take off your belt.
Yeah, don't take off your shoes.
Don't take out because people are going to the line and they're looking for those bins. There's no bins.
No, a little circular bin for your wallet.
No, they didn't have that.
You keep that in your pocket?
Don't take anything. They said put your wallet in your suitcase or put your wallet in your baggage.
Wow.
They were yelling at everybody.
Oh, wow.
Put your wallet in your baggage. Do not take off your shoes. Do not take off your belt. Do not take out the computer. Do not take out the computer. I was slowing things down because people were trying to take out the computer.
You fools, you're pre-check. You're trusted travelers, kind of, not really. Your lottery.
Meanwhile, the other line was short, and you could have gotten probably through faster. On the way back, I have to say, through Seattle, that was not the case. The lines were, I hit the wrong hour or something, and the lines were extremely long, and the pre-check probably saved me 15, 20 minutes.
Oh,
so that's okay.
Right.
But it was like the pre-check thing was kind of a confused mess in Seattle. And Oakland is pretty straightforward. They got a big line and big arrows. You know where to go.
Well, so first of all, this is just an outrage. This is a money scam.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, I traveled for the first time as a trusted traveler, as I have become a member of the Trusted Traveler program known as Global Entry, which qualifies you for a pre-check.
Pre-check, yeah.
Which I did to facilitate and help my wife and be able to accompany her, so she's no longer put in the fish tank every time she tries to enter the country legally with a resident alien card, valid, but she has some flag next to her name, and even though she obviously looks like a total terrorist, they have to take her aside and make a joke, and they've always said, well, if you do a Global Entry, this won't happen anymore. So we will see upon our return from Amsterdam in September.
Oh, it'll be a breeze. You go right through.
Well, and of course
you're paying. You know why? You're playing by the rules.
Rule follower. If there's a rule, I'll follow it. So we each paid $140 for the privilege of driving to Houston, which is it's more than just a day trip, really. Unless you want to drive up and down and be nuts. And
Houston.
Sorry?
Nothing. I just said a nasty thing about Houston.
All right. And as we discussed on the show, the interview consisted of I didn't even have to prove my address. Show your driver's license, which has an old address on it. Show your passport. Okay. Put your fingers on here. Good. Hey! It's the interview portion. Did you know Robert Plant? Did you hang out with him in Austin? Hey, man, do you know Rudy Sarzo and those guys? He played with Blue Oyster Cult, doesn't he? Yeah. Also with Whitesnake and Dio. And I miss Dio. Yeah, I miss him too. That was my interview. And I will remind you that Mickey had a different interviewer. And because of her resident alien status green card, it came up, said, well, you'll receive an email if you're approved or not. And my guy went, that, of course, it's bull crap. It's approved. It's just a delay it for a minute or two. And, of course, it came through approved. So I was pre-checked for the first time, and I flew on JetBlue with even more room.
JetBlue?
JetBlue.
From Austin?
Yeah, they have flights, JetBlue.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I like JetBlue as an airline.
Yeah, I do too. They're okay.
They got TV, we have live TV.
Yeah, you know what? Southwest has got this new scam. I think this is genius. They have free Wi-Fi that streams Dish Network to your laptop.
Great. Okay.
It saves on all those screens.
So, really? Well, I didn't have any of that, and actually wound up just finishing Don's book on the plane. But I was early flight and was very busy. Austin Bergstrom, so even 6:15 flight, so very, very early in the morning. And I had the pre-check, and I go right up to the front of the line and straight through, and it said on my ticket, pre-check, and I was actual pre-check, not some lottery. I had done the test. I had passed the test. I answered all the questions about Ronnie James Dio correctly. I was a trusted traveler. I did have to take my belt off, which consisted of some studs. And I put that in you're right, no bins, round circular bin. Now, I am still traveling the way I've been traveling for many moons when I travel with the studio. I have 2 carry-ons. I have a laptop bag.
To anyone in their right mind looking at this mess, rat's nest of wires and
let me explain what I had with me. I had multiple laptops, tablets. I had my Wi-Fi device. I had my Nokia E71 cell phone in case I needed to actually have a conversation with someone in New York. And I had my ICOM ID31A, so I had a transmitting device with which could be used to activate an IED easily. That's what you would expect to use. It had the antenna screwed on right there, so it looked like a walkie-talkie with a which you could also maybe, I don't know, disrupt air traffic. I did have my license with me in case I need to show that. I had the over-the-shoulder bag, which consists of a long metallic round object, cylindrical in form, which has always been taken out by everyone, which is the microphone, which I'm currently using. Many wires, multiple boxes, computer-like devices, pieces of wood that prop up the iPad. This thing, it is an obvious red flag.
I would say yes to that.
And the operator barely even looked at the screen. I have stood for many a time watching them make it blue, red, green. Look at all the different contours. What is this? And then still put it through again, and then say, "Well, we put it through again. We've looked at it in red, yellow, and green. We got to open this up. We got to swab it. We got to swab you." But no. Flies right through, no problem. Because I'm a trusted traveler. But I could have been a trusted traveler on the lottery, which would mean I'm not trusted at all, like you, a troublemaker.
Could happen. Could be a trusted terrorist.
So this is an outrage. They have taken $280 of our money.
Yeah. Well, this is not... Yes, but in your case, it's really more for Mickey's benefit. You don't really care one way or the other.
And no,
because she's the one, and you're now. And this is actually you spent $280, which is outrageously high. Yeah. You spent $280 of your hard-earned cash, and you have only done this as an experiment for the listeners of the No Agenda Show for your return from Europe.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's actually a write-off.
And Christina is with me, and she is always egging me on to get a tattoo.
Why?
Because she wants her dad to have a tattoo. She has a lot of them. She's very into the ink. These kids today, they like the ink. Ink. And I'm thinking I should get on my arm, on my bicep, trusted traveler. Or just trust. How about just trusted citizen? How about that?
And then trusted citizen.
Trusted citizen. I think that would be really good.
I have advice for people that want to get a tattoo. Some people do like them. Some people don't. My advice is you get a henna tattoo, a fake tattoo, one of the permanent, semi-permanent ones that last for a couple of weeks first, and live with it. See if you don't.
See if
mind
I like it. Right? Oh, that's a good idea.
Because what happens is I went to a party once where they were giving you these fake tattoos.
Yeah.
And everybody was getting one. I had a
what party was this that came up with this? That's a great idea.
Party somewhere.
Oh, Facebook party. MySpace. No, MySpace party.
This is pre-Facebook.
Oh, GeoCities.
So I had sorry?
A GeoCities party.
I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Anyway, so I went to this party and I had a panther tattooed to my forearm. And, it looked like a real tattoo when they're said and done, if they do them right. And so, again, they had a salute. You pick all kinds of skulls. You can put all kinds of cool stuff on.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And so it was stuck there I stayed for about a week and a half before I finally started to flake off. And I didn't like it because I'd wake up in the morning and I'd look at my arm and I'd jump, thinking it was some huge bug or something crawling on me. It was just disturbing. I am not a person for the tattoo.
Well,
that's my recommendation of people who want to try it out.
I think I should design one that says "Trusted Citizen" with a barcode, obviously.
Oh yeah, and the barcode should be or it could be one of those square barcode.
Why not just a QR code? Just a QR code.
QR code that sends you to the No Agenda website.
Exactly, a QR code. I like it. Well, actually, one of the developers that I'm working on the ham stuff with we're talking about some stuff with QR codes on ham. It's a very interesting idea.
That would be interesting. Now, I want to make one more little anecdote about the trip.
Yeah.
We were at a coffee place getting some coffee, and we cashed some money to get some change. And one of the bills that came back was a Canadian plastic $10 bill.
Oh.
And I realized, because somebody sent me a plastic $5 bill. These bills, by the way, you don't even know. I had to tell Mimi that it was plastic. That's how well done they are.
Oh.
Even though half of it's like it's obviously plastic. I don't know how much these bills are used, but they seem to. I think that they seem to look and act newer, like new bills, longer than a paper bill. And it's possible. I don't know. I'm going to look into this, and some Scandinavians may be able to tell me. They may be able to keep them in circulation longer, thus paying the extra expense of these plastic bills, because these can't be cheap to make.
What denomination are they?
Well, so far I've seen 5 and 10, but I think they're all denominations. I think they've all gone to all plastic.
I think it's just easier to snort your Coke with. Isn't that what it's for? Simply just so it doesn't stick to the inside and just does it roll easy?
Yeah. It definitely will. Yeah, that's a possibility that the little crystals won't stay on the bills.
The little crystals. There's flavor crystals in them.
And they're probably more sanitary if you had to lick the bill.
I got an email about your Indians in Scandinavia question.
Oh, I have the same email. You may read it.
From Peter O'Rourke?
No, I got another one from Karthik.
Let's compare.
Okay.
Peter O'Rourke, and this is your question, why there are so many Indians in Canada. Peter O'Rourke says, in the late 70s and early 80s, and certainly during the Reagan administration, a call went out from the U.S. for foreign physicians to fill less than glamorous jobs in the medical field like state mental health institutions and the like. These jobs were filled, and this created a toehold for Indians on the continent. Before this, Indian immigration had been light, with only around 2,000 or so in the 1900 census. Excuse me. Seeing the success of their Indian counterparts, a wave of immigration ensued. The reason there are so many Indians in Canada is that after a residency in Canada of 5 years, entrance to the U.S. is almost guaranteed. This is the goal of many of the Scandinavian Indians. And he says he got this information from an Indian friend.
Interesting. Well, that's a lot different than my letter.
Oh, this is what we like.
Now, Karthik V.S., who is, I believe, of some heritage, this is regarding John's comments about Indian people in Canada. I believe what John heard on the radio was not Hindu. It's Hindi, by the way. But so I have to remember that. It was probably Punjabi. There is a large Sikh population in BC that moved there after the 1984 anti-Sikh riots in India.
Okay.
This is a long story, but they happened because some Sikh bodyguards assassinated the then PM Indira Gandhi. According to the Statistics Canada, there are about 450,705 Punjabi people living in Canada out of the 182,915, and out of that, 182,915 live in BC. According to the Affiliation of Multicultural Societies and Services Agencies of BC, Punjabi remains the most commonly spoken immigrant non-official language spoken in the country, followed by Cantonese. Canada still remains a very popular place for Punjabi people to immigrate. because they have friends and family there, but you will not see them all over the country because they prefer to live in certain cities like Surrey, Surrey, BC, Brampton, Ontario, and a few other places, just in case you were wondering. I'm still a boner and soon to be a donor. I am a grad student at the University of Waterloo. I have a job soon enough. I'll be donating. Anyway.
My note came...
At least this will stop.
My note came from a donor, so
Well, my note came from someone named Karthik, and I believe that this is an accurate depiction of what I was experiencing. And they were Sikhs because they all had turbans on.
Very good point. Well, let's see what this will beget some more feedback, I'm sure. It always does. John@curry.com, everybody. Send it to him. I have two clips for you now, John, from the Agenda 21 category.
The science is in. Science.
Big, really big shoe coming up here in New York City. The 23rd of September. We have yet another gathering of climate scientists. And Al Gore, of course, is I think he's didn't he start something with that global warming thing a while back?
I don't know. I never heard of him.
Turn into the climate change thing, and he has now engaged one of the apparently few, one of the many. We know now that almost no PR companies will work with climate change deniers. So he's working with WPP. If you're going to go for big, you have Omnicom, WPP, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. They own everything, and they've come up with a new campaign. Which really puts you, young citizen, squarely in the driver's seat. And this is a video that he has created with them, and I'm sure that this campaign is they're probably getting, I would say, 3 to 5 million. You think it's just a basic Gore campaign for some climate stuff, that would be a $3 to $5 million.
$5 million, yeah.
You think there's $5 million direct billings, or does that include media buy, or do they do a media buy separate above and beyond that? Or
it may be advanced against media buy, but these won't be media buys. These will be public service announcements, so they don't get a media buy angle.
But they did create a website and put up
that costs money, $80 million.
There we go.
People today have the most to lose from climate change, and yet haven't had a lot of say in the matter.
Is this true? Do you feel that young people have the most to lose from climate change?
What are they going to lose?
Change.
It's time that changed. While all the leaders of the world will be gathering at the United Nations Climate Summit in New York on September 23rd, the people with the most to lose from the decisions that are made, young people like you, won't be at the discussion table.
I thought the Chinese or the Africans, I thought they were going to lose because we're smoking them out and they need climate credits and money. And I'm a little confused by this.
But you can change all that. Visit askwhywhynot.org.
What?
So someone, hey, Al, Mr. Gore, we have a great idea for a campaign, okay? Are you ready? Are you ready for this idea? Yeah. Ask why not?
Am I going to ask why?
Why not? Ask why not? And we already have the URL registered for you, Mr. Gore. Askwhywhynot.org.
Oh, okay, if you say so.
To see how you can...
What?
You're the experts.
Be the voice of your generation and challenge the likes of President Obama, Chancellor Merkel, and President Xi Jinping of China.
We tried to get Justin Timberlake and we tried to get Taylor Swift, but we think the young kids will settle for Angela Merkel. That's why we have the website, askwhywhynot.org.
On their climate policies when they attend the UN Climate Summit. If you have ever asked why the planet is in the mess it's in, then let me ask you this. Why not do something about it?
That's the tagline. I got it. So here's how you end the video, Mr. Gore. If you ever ask her why the planet is in such a mess.
It is?
Superstorm Sandy, my friend. Are you questioning that? You denier? Are you questioning what that was? Are you questioning?
How long ago was that anyway?
Do you live in California? Are you questioning the drought? I find it so fascinating that in the one state where we have a certified drought, people are dousing themselves with ice water buckets. It's very, very, very interesting development we have there in Silicon Valley.
You know, that's actually, because we don't take the drought seriously because we've had these droughts before. Now, let me tell you something. There's been real droughts here. This is a drought of sorts.
Sure.
But we've had droughts to the point where Marin County had to have a pipeline dragged across the San Rafael Bridge. There was a pipeline across that bridge to get water to Marin County. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
We don't have a pipeline at this point.
So it can't be that bad.
I've always, this is my indicator.
How long ago was this pipeline?
This was about 15 years ago, maybe 20.
Did we have global warming then?
Well, apparently, it's hard to say. I have no idea that we have global warming ever.
Must have been.
Whatever the case.
Well, yes.
Whatever the case, I think you've hit something here. These guys are just
mocking it. Mocking it.
Drought and global warming by dousing themselves with this ice water. Your answer to me when I asked what is this bullcrap these guys are dumping ice water? I mean, maybe you should explain what's going on, because your answer to me was priceless.
This is an initiative that's you mean the answer on email?
Yeah.
Okay.
I see what's with these guys, and then you said,
"Wait, this is the it's to raise awareness for Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, and for some reason it started with Silicon Valley CEOs dousing themselves with ice water, and even more odd is." Either you donate or you douse, and then what happens is you douse, but of course he's really going to donate. I'm not sure how that works. Something went strangely wrong with the messaging there. But so we have Tim Cook and Zuckerberg and a whole bunch of people doing this. And then you said, what is with this? And I think my answer was a gay Illuminati cult thing. Was that my answer?
Gay Illuminati cult rights.
Yeah. And your problem, citizen? That's what it is.
So that's what the gay Illuminati does. They douse themselves with ice water, but this is just the guise. This is under the guise of Lou Gehrig's disease.
But really, it's a gay Illuminati rite of passage. Very nice. Very nice.
Whatever the case, they're dousing themselves with this bucket of ice water. Then they give anyway, and then they call out somebody else. And I think Zuckerberg called out Larry Ellison and Bill Gates. Douse or donate. And then now they have to.
Yeah, I think
that's what gets to me. They don't have to do anything.
I think they should make them eat kale.
What do you mean they have to?
Just make them eat kale.
What kind of world are we living in?
I don't know. It's just stupid.
It's extremely stupid.
It's stupido. I like to write checks to people who I want to help,
and it's not helping anything. It's just he caught on as kind of a meme, I guess.
But it's a
narcissistic thing. These guys are showing.
Yeah,
this is very, very. It's like, look at me. I'm dousing myself with water. I'm on video. Take a look. Look at me.
It is a tipping point, John, in the international health crisis known as the social media selfie movement. This is the tipping point. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Oh, we didn't catch it. Let's do it over so we can get the ice really just flowing down. I'm sure there's do-overs on this thing too.
Yeah.
I had a lot of people agreeing with me at the reunion about this international health crisis, this selfie movement, retake it again. I have my eyes closed. Oh, I wasn't laughing right. Oh, the shadow wasn't right. Oh, let's, okay, good. I've got it. Crop, rotate, filter, post. How come he didn't like it? That he hasn't liked it yet. He probably hates me. Oh my gosh, this is not good. All right, John Watermelon Head Kerry is all over helping Gore. And Kerry, of course, is writing his own script as usual regarding the global warmings taking place. And I thought it was necessary to share his means of communicating to the young kids or even the older kids what is happening and that something needs to be done about it. And, of course, it's facts.
All of us in this room understand climate change is not a crisis of the future. Climate change is here now.
Yeah. It's here.
Shut up already. It's science.
It's happening. Happening all over the world.
All over the world, John. John has turned into the Wookiee. What is that? What that's priceless. John, it's happening. It's happening all over the world. It's happening.
Change is here now. It's happening. Happening all over the world.
It's happening. This guy is priceless.
It's not a challenge that's somehow remote and that people can't grab onto.
No, it's like a life raft. You can grab onto. You can grab onto the crisis that's happening now.
And what's happening is the science.
Oh, yes, it's science.
We believe in science.
Science is happening. John, listen very closely. It's important you hear what he's saying.
I'm listening.
What did he just say?
The science.
No, that's not what he said. You're not listening. You're playing harmonica.
What did he say?
What is happening is science.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's climate change, maybe. Global warming. It's not science.
No, it's science. Science.
And what's happening is the science.
The science. I'm sorry. The science is happening. The science is happening.
It's screaming at us.
It's screaming at us. The science, wow. John. Don't you hear the science?
Ask any kid in school.
Whoa, hold on. Ask any kid in school. Do you have any kids in school?
Any kid in school?
Yeah, we don't need scientists.
Ask them what? Science screaming at you, kid?
Yeah. Ask any kid in school. They understand what a greenhouse is, how it works.
They understand how a greenhouse works. To grow plants. To create global warming from evil CO2.
That's what the kids in school know.
What?
To grow pot. That's what a greenhouse is for.
Why we call it the greenhouse effect? They get it.
Pot.
And here's what. If you accept the science.
Yes, I accept. John, do you accept the science?
I accept the science.
If you accept that the science is causing climate to change.
What? The science is causing climate change? I thought it was carbon dioxide.
No, the science is causing climate to change. It's not just the science is climate to change.
If you accept that the science is causing climate to change.
That's what he said. I thought it was carbon dioxide that was causing it.
It's the science.
The science. We got to stop science.
Stop that evil science.
Stop science.
Shut up already.
Stop the science.
Science.
You have to heed what those same scientists are telling us about how you prevent the inevitable consequences and impacts.
Which is death, doom, and destruction of you, children.
That's why President Obama has made climate change a top priority.
For weed. To grow more weed.
He's doing by executive authority what we're not able to get the Congress to do.
The Congress. Damn Congress. Oh, heed the science. The science is causing the climate to change. Whew. I don't know about you, but that took a lot out of me when I heard all that.
That guy's a stooge.
I felt pretty bad just listening to it.
Brother. I got a nice letter.
Oh. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, this really makes me want. It came from Jay David, the IMF.
Who?
I'm John David.
From the IMF?
Oh, yeah.
As in the Christine Lagarde's club there, the International Monetary Fund?
Yeah, I'm John David, the personal lawyer to Christine Lagarde, managing director of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, in the USA.
Are you being sued?
I know this will come to you as a surprise, but it is a blessing for life. And in this transaction will be beneficial to you, even on your retired days. And you will be grateful to me for this rest of your life.
For this rest of your life?
But during my investigation, I discovered funds that have been seized through the past government. Due to my position now, I have discovered and confirmed that it can be released to you without any hitches.
This is excellent.
You are very lucky for me contacting you now because this is the best time to accomplish this transaction. This is an opportunity that comes which I cannot afford to lose because it is painful when you do not utilize a real opportunity.
Is this guy from Nigeria, this Mr. Davis? He sounds like it might be a Nigerian princess.
Has a kind of a Nigerian ring to it.
Has a little
but I'm
bit
going to follow up because maybe it's my way out.
Yeah.
Because it has definitely something that,
You should totally do that with your Gmail account so they can hack it. And then I can get an email that says that you had an accident and you have no more money and you need me to desperately send you some cash.
Yeah, that would work.
Those are pretty. The first time I saw that, I thought it was quite convincing.
What, the Lagarde one?
No, I've had an accident and.
Oh, the accident one.
I just thought that Uncle Don would have other ways to take care of himself, but it's what it is apparently. Have you heard of this new shut up rule that's been implemented here in New York by the New York State Board of Elections for campaign finance?
No.
So apparently they passed a rule looks like, let me just get this. I have this here in March 31st, 2014, Article 14 of the election law was amended to provide for expanded disclosure of independent expenditures. Now, everyone is always looking for campaign finance reform, which everyone seems to think is a good idea, particularly in the blue states here of the East Coast. And the idea is to shore this up a bit so that we can know who's doing what to whom and how it works. And this is really a reporting requirement. Chapter 55 of the Laws of 2014, Subpart C, New York State Election Law, Article 14. And it is about the presentation of the independent expenditure reporting. And it has been adopted, ratified, and it goes into effect. And it requires the citizens to file a weekly or 24-hour independent expenditure contribution to any form of contribution to a political campaign. And I read a couple of articles about it and decided to go and actually download the rules. Go figure. We'll do some real reporting. Even the article that I read was a little off on what it exactly is. But here it is. What now has to be done, and this is for the disclosure of independent expenditures. Independent, of course, means the expenditure communication that has not been authorized, requested, suggested, fostered, or cooperated on by a candidate, his or her committee, or agents, or a ballot proposal committee. So, in other words, if I wanted to, let's take an example. If I wanted to print up some flyers and I wanted to spread them around, that would be an independent contribution because it cost actual money to do that. And how do I know that is a part of it? Well, as it relates to ballot proposals, independent means a political committee formed to promote the success or defeat of a ballot proposal that was not authorized. It can be an audio or video communication via broadcast cable or satellite, which technically that could be through internet, I think, if you're saying cable, but maybe not necessarily. It also includes, and this is the one I was alluding to, written communication via advertisements, pamphlets, circulars, flyers, brochures, letterheads, or other published statements. And regardless of when made, includes words such as, you might want to write these down, John, because these are words that if you use them, will require you to report your expenditure of using the words vote, oppose, support, elect, defeat, or reject. So if you use these words and you print them on flyers and it costs you $1,000, that is now reportable.
Huh.
And if you do that within 30 days, or up to 30 days of an election or a vote, you must report that within a week. If you do it within the 30-day period, you must report it within 24 hours. Or you can be fined and or jailed for not reporting this appropriately.
Jailed?
Fine.
Now, are those words limited? Is it limited to those words? What if I said kick out? instead of reject.
Let's read the terms again to be very specific. By the way, the clearly identified candidate would be another requirement that you'd have to adhere to. So if you said kick out, name of the candidate, if it appears a photograph, a drawing, a caricature of the candidate, or the identity of the candidate is apparent by unambiguous reference, like clippity-clop or something, that would also count if it was clear to a large enough group. And let me look again at those words. Regardless of when made. Words such as.
Such as.
Vote, oppose, support, elect, defeat, or reject, which call for the election or defeat of a clearly defined candidate, or on or after January 1st of the election year in which such candidate is seeking office or such proposal shall appear on the ballot, refers to and advocates for or against a clearly identified candidate or ballot proposal. So this is, I think the $1,000 is concerning, this reporting requirement. And why would I have to report if I...
So I can't make a handmade sign?
If it costs $1,000, you can make a handmade sign. That is okay.
I can make a single handmade sign.
But you can see where to make a difference, if you printed up a whole bunch of signs and wanted to put them in people's yard, I can see where that can reach up to $1,000 pretty quickly. I can see where that can happen.
What if you bought $998 of signs?
You're okay. Then you're okay.
Okay. What if the next day you bought another $998?
I think it's still within the time period. So I think it's cumulative within the year is the way I see, the way I'm reading it.
So I can't spend $1,000 in an entire year.
You can. You just have to report it.
So if I spend $998 and then I wait a month and spend $3, which puts me over the limit, do I file the $3 thing?
No,
what about the other one?
You have
months old. It'd be old reporting.
If it's within that calendar year, and it's before 30 days before an election or ballot, you have a week to report it. If it's within the 30 days of the election or ballot proposal, you have 24 hours to report that, and that would be the $1,000 within that calendar year.
Whose idea is this?
Well, this is not an idea.
Just to keep the Koch brothers out.
Well, I don't know. Why would it be to keep? Do you think they care? Do you think they care about reporting? I don't see how they can care.
No. What happens if the signs come in from out of state?
Koch brothers?
What if the signs come in from out of state?
Well, look, I'm just identifying something. I read the legislation. I don't know if I can get all. I think that
all right,
counts.
It's not important to us. It's just New York doing its thing. Making things worse, making a bigger bureaucracy than they already have.
But this is truly shut up slave. This is words you can't use without being penalized. You have to pay for these words.
So you have to register the words.
True. Right.
You have to register your words.
You're right.
I'm doing a sign that says the guy's a schmuck.
Yeah.
Is that it? Do I have to? Yes, you have to register.
Maybe.
Put the exact words down here.
You might not have to. I think you could get away with schmuck. As long as you don't end up, you say the guy. Not if you say
a schmuck.
If you identify a candidate,
the guy's a schmuck.
No, if you identify a candidate, it's a problem. You can just say the guy's a schmuck. That's not too much of a problem. Yeah.
So we had this. Bratton is the chief of police or runs the police department in that area. The guy used to be the original, cleaned up New York under Giuliani.
Yeah. So he took the squeegee guys, and I think he killed them all. I never saw the squeegee
guys.
I never saw the squeegee guys after that.
I don't know what happened to them. Whatever the case is, he's back, and now he's moving ahead.
Uh-oh.
So I have a couple of clips. There was a nice event with him being interviewed by I think a liberal editor from the Atlantic or something, and who was expecting to hear. He's not expecting to hear Minority Report coming out of Bratton's mouth, but that's what he ended
But we know that's what he's really built here. What he really started.
And I have 3 clips that are very interesting because they're educational. Mm-hmm. And we can start with Bratton on predictive policing, and this is the future of your country.
And I've heard you talk a lot in the last couple of years about predictive policing. And I thought we might start there with what does that actually mean?
Okay, predictive policing is the evolution we're now going through in policing. The period of time we're in right now is called the information intelligence era, that we have learned the importance of gathering as much information as possible and as quickly as possible, making intelligence out of it. In policing, that was the CompStat system that we put into place in 1994. That was the engine that really drove the crime declines that allowed us to move from 2,245 murders, the all-time murder high in the city, to last year, the all-time low. Good news is, so far this year, we have 18 fewer murders than we had the same time last year. So the good news is that crime can continue to go down. The challenge to do that is to find ways to, in fact, do it. And predictive policing, I think, is going to be one of those tools. The ability to, with the huge amounts of information that we can gather, with algorithms that have now been developed and are being continually improved upon, we have the ability within a geographic area to predict with some certainty within a certain time frame that a crime will likely be committed there unless we prevent it. And we prevent it by putting a police officer there, cops on the dots. Same thing as we did in the 1990s.
Hold on, before you say anything. First of all, cops on the dots, great for a title possibility. 2,
I'm writing it down.
I'm really hoping that the algorithm they have developed, which clearly is done with big data, is as effective as the Facebook advertising. Because those guys really know. They get me every single time. Google, they know so well what I want. At the moment I want to see this product, that's when they deliver me the ad, and it's always right on the money. So I hope that predictive policing uses the same fantastic, completely accurate algorithms.
Absolutely. Well, he goes on, and this guy over the period of this interview's jaw just keeps getting longer and longer. And so let's go to part 2.
It does sound a little bit like Minority Report. You're not identifying the criminals in advance, though. You're identifying the likelihood of a crime being committed. Can you give a concrete example?
Yeah, well, actually, in some respects, you are identifying the criminal because the algorithm also takes into account.
He's identifying the criminal? Let me back that up a minute.
Yeah. No, the guy says, this is not like that, is it? And he says, oh, yeah, no, it's like that.
The criminal because the algorithm also takes into account who's living in that area, who's been arrested, who just got out of jail, the patterns and trends of crime that are being reported, matching up against who does that type of crime. So the Minority Report you refer to is the Tom Cruise movie, the late 1990s, that looks so futuristic, and now everyone in the audience with your iPhone or your Samsung phone can do exactly what Tom Cruise was doing that seems so futuristic as recently as 10 years ago.
And everybody who doesn't have a phone like Mr. Adam Curry, no smartphone, rejoiced. Or everyone looked down and went, oh, crap, I got a Samsung phone. Oh, man. Does the LG phone not have this capability for Minority Report feedback loop?
Yeah, I think it was pretty bigoted of him just to mention the iPhone and the Samsung.
Worse, I would accuse him of native advertising.
That's a possibility.
Product placement. iPhone is top of the list. But yes, this is, of course, he is right. We have all the big data on you. Now, obviously, if it's anything like the advertising algorithms, after I have completed my purchase, i.e. after the crime has been committed, that's when I get arrested falsely.
When we were talking a few shows back, when
everything I buy, I get all the ads after I bought it.
I know. It happens to me, too. It's
so
ridiculous.
Smart.
So it says how great it is. It's how great that algorithm works. So we're talking about how JC was in the building across from where Obama was going to visit, and everybody's phones lit up.
Yeah, this was the Viper system.
Yeah, it's the Viper system, which apparently lights up all the local phones and creates a false tower. So you can't really do anything without going through the Viper system.
Right.
Yeah, they said apparently San Francisco's been using it to an extreme.
And it's illegal. I believe it is unconstitutional and illegal.
Yeah, it is. So what? What are you going to do about it?
Citizen. I'm a trusted citizen. Scan my QR code.
That and $3 will get you a Starbucks coffee. So yeah, play the last clip of this, and this is I thought was just as creepy as anything else he said.
No, this is not far-fetched. This is the reality of policing.
Yeah.
And as we go forward into the 21st century, it's going to become much more commonplace. The idea of using technology, using big data, using all of the new ways of collaborating with each other to effectively keep crime low, and most importantly, prevent it from occurring in the first place.
So what in the future?
Oh, I just have to prevent it from because they know what I'm thinking. He knows what I'm thinking. That was the Minority Report. No, it wasn't just the tech. Okay, great.
Prevent it from occurring in the first place.
So what in the future can we as citizens expect our public spaces to feel like? I mean, they're now.
And now he's calling citizens. He's really calling us citizens at this point.
Yeah.
Jeez.
6,000 or 7,000 cameras in the streets of New York. Do you imagine
selfies,
more tightly surveilled public spaces, the use of drones and so forth has been speculated upon a lot lately?
Certainly what we can expect, we had 7.5 million people in 1990. We now have, we believe, 8.5 million, probably more, and then with the 56 million tourists, and that number is growing, we are going to live in a very densely crowded city where public spaces will in fact be more crowded. From the police perspective, that one of the things we will attempt to do is to try to continually improve our ability to police those public spaces. My predecessor, Commissioner Kelly, post 9/11, implemented a program called Domain Awareness, initially in the Wall Street area, and then growing up to around 59th Street in Manhattan, and now moving north, that eventually will be throughout the city. And that's the camera systems, currently 7,000 cameras, private sector, police cameras that are all interconnected so that we have the ability to very closely monitor, particularly in Manhattan, public space. We also have license plate scanning capabilities that in the future that it will actually be impossible to come into the city of New York and not have your license plate scanned in some fashion at Easy Pass or some other type of location where that number is being recorded.
Nice.
All of this is constitutionally protected activity, if you will.
Yes.
It has been deemed by the Supreme Court to be lawful to, in fact, do it.
Yeah, but let's not have any outrage over that. Let's have outrage over birth control. Well,
So
John, stop.
What?
Stop.
What?
3 clips, collective, all boil down to one thing.
Clip of the
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't take it, but okay, thanks. I want to remind people that when you have a fast pass, I have one.
Easy Pass here in New York.
Easy Pass, Fast Pass, whatever you want to call it, advertising.
ISIL Pass.
In San Francisco, you go across the bridge, beep, and you collect the toll, and then there are monitors all throughout the city
on the lampposts,
and elsewhere that monitor that
RFID.
Yeah. They monitor it constantly, so they know that you're downtown.
That is constitutionally legal. The Supreme Court said so. It's all good. Do you have a problem? What's your problem, citizen?
I'm just advising people. You get yourself a couple pieces of lead foil, and you pull.
Here we go.
What?
Yeah.
You keep the fast pass in the glove box, and you wrap it in lead foil. And then when you come to the bridge, you take it out and you put it on your dashboard, and you go through the bridge. Beep. And then you take the thing off your dashboard. You don't want to leave it out anyway because people will steal it.
No.
So you take it out and you put it back in the lead foil, little envelope you created, and shove it back in your glove box. Why should anybody be tracking me like a dog as I drive around the city?
You may return to your business, citizen.
That is the future, John. That is the future. And, of course, it will lead to absolutely zero terrorists being arrested.
No, it will lead to nothing. All it is that it's just to make you feel uncomfortable. That it's the secret police. They're watching your every move. That's all it is, just to intimidate the public.
But it
doesn't result in any terrorists being captured. That's the point. It doesn't do anything any good.
Could they take
less murders?
Could they take?
That was, by the way, the less murders thing is a red herring because that has been the case in all cities, whether they implemented all this crap or not.
Would it be possible to take some of that data, where I'm driving, what kind of car I'm driving, because you have the license plate data, where I'm walking, and give me advertising about what I want when I want it?
Yes, and they could tell you to buy things you've already bought. Only this time on the fly.
I love
Walmart, citizen.
I love this this booking this trip. I told you like hotels.com or whatever I did.
Yeah.
Well, I'm booked, and all the ads I see is for hotels in New York. I'm here. I'm already here. I don't need. I rented a car. I don't need any deals. I just don't need any deals. It's really sad that there's still this belief. It's not
even close to being any good.
No, and people are starting to see it, and they still believe, well, maybe if I have an iWatch,
it'll be better.
And Google has even more information about me with my wearables.
And by the way, I'm going to...
I'm sorry. I slipped. Sorry.
What did you do there?
I slipped.
I've got one more Bill Ayers clip. So he's arguing with Denise D'Souza about libertarianism and whatever, and he's not a libertarian by any means. And Denise was asked what was wrong with libertarianism, and Bill Ayers comes out with what he thinks is wrong with libertarianism, even though he admits that it's a wide variety of thoughts and whatever. And he comes up with, this is another thing. He comes up with, this is a very short clip. This is Bill Ayers on libertarianism. He comes up with this bull crap. I consider myself a libertarian. I know plenty of libertarians, and none of them think the way he says libertarians are. And what's wrong with libertarianism is in this clip.
Just that is also part of your freedom.
No, where the libertarians get it wrong is that they think that the market is holy, and so they say the government bad, but these corporations that have taken over the government, they're good. That's nonsense. So even the idea that somehow the government spying on us is a bad thing, but Google spying on us is a great thing because of the love of the market and private enterprise. It's foolish.
Yeah, but that's not just libertarians. That's
bullcrap. Nobody thinks that. Libertarians in particular don't think it's great that Google's spying on them. The people, and you were talking about people like Leo, who has a big, he thinks it's great that you can maybe get advertising that's meant for you.
Google told me when to leave on time for my flight because it knew through looking at my email, it knew what flight I was on, and it knew that there was traffic.
That's an example, but Leo is an example of a left-winger similar to Bill Ayers. I don't know any libertarian who thinks it's cool that Google's spying on them all the time. This guy's basically full of crap, and he wasn't called out by D'Souza on this nonsense, which bothers me.
Yeah.
It's like these public figures are supposed to be arguing things. They're except for the Shapiro character, who is a
he's a hoot.
He is funny. You want to play another clip from?
Before you do that, I just wanted to tell people one more time, just so they know, all is not lost. You are not hopeless. There is absolutely no reason for you to have to use any Google services. You really don't have to. So what if you have to? Faru.com. Try that. There's plenty of alternatives. Even
Faru.com, that's a new one. I don't know Faru.com.
Yeah, we've talked about it. It uses distributed hash tables.
Oh, right.
FAROO.com, I believe. Faru.com. I'm very impressed with what the future of the net in general is going to be distributed hash tables, but that's okay. You don't have to worry about that for now. There's no need to use Gmail. There's no need to have a smartphone. There's no need for it. You can print out a map at home. I don't have a smartphone.
No, you're using the old E71, an old classic.
It's off. The battery is out. Only if I needed to make a call.
It doesn't even have GPS.
I don't know. It may.
You'd have to do triangulation to find you. They don't even bother with triangulation anymore.
But that's only for a phone call if I need to make one and I can't make voice any other way, which could be an emergency could happen. That's why I brought it. But I really had my ID31A. The D-Star is much more effective, the ham radio. But I have a Wi-Fi device which is not connected unless I really need to connect. And you know what? You don't. You just don't. The only thing that I should have had connection for yesterday is John sent me the newsletter to look at, and because I was disconnected, enjoying family, I didn't receive it, and I said, I think I replied to you, sorry, I was disconnected. which I was. I was disconnected, don't care, opted out. My life carried on perfectly.
Yeah.
Your life will carry on if you don't have a smartphone. I'm sorry, an iPhone or Samsung. Everything else may be okay if we listen to Bratton. Everything else may be okay. But you can opt out of this. It's really okay. You don't need all these services. They are not actually enriching their life. They are, in fact, making you ill. Most of what you are doing is making you ill. The thing you believe you have to publish on Facebook and Twitter, and that's the only way you can communicate with people and publish things to the world, is, in fact, making you ill.
It's insane.
Yes, use of these without proper realization is indeed insane. Now let's play another.
Actually, I think we should take a little break first.
Okay, I'm sorry. I can't help myself. It makes me angry to see that people think there's no way out, and they're just yelling at Google. Stop! Ignore them! Ignore them! I say, ignore them.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, oh, No Agenda in the morning.
And by the way, yes, smarty pants. Yeah, I know. Even if you don't turn the smartphone off, it's still tracking you. That's why you don't need one. You don't need one. You don't need one. Print out the map. You might actually notice some things while you're driving around. We have these things we invented called, what are they? Signs. And in New York, they're very good. North, south. Oh, I think I'm going north because I looked at the map. I know Armonk is north. Oh, I think I'll take 9N. This is not hard, people. We used to not have...
Turn left at the fork.
Keep right. Slight
right at the fork.
Slight right at the fork.
Slight right at the fork. Slight right at the fork. Left. Left at the signal. Left. Okay. We do have a few people to thank for our show 644. I want to thank them.
I'm concerned about how I'm sounding these days. I'm very concerned.
You sound like an old coot. You're going to be 50. Next thing you know, 60, then 70, when 80. That's when I want to hear you. James Butcher.
I want you to hear me when I'm 80. I really hope you're still hearing me, bro.
I can barely hear you. Talk up. What? Bro. James Butcher and Al Walino in Western Australia, $111.11. Jeff Yerke, who's over here and is a part of the Dvorak Yerke project to for years. The Dvorak Yerke project to redigitize old Red Fox albums. In fact, one of our listeners sent me a little pile of them. I want to thank him. I'll get the note out. Where is that group? I have to get I'll do it for the next show.
Oh, that's
cool. I got another bundle of Red Fox albums.
Nice.
And he just did a bunch of them, but he put them on Dropbox. I'm going to have to send me a disc. Dropbox sucks.
Oh, I have not even installed Dropbox on my MacBook.
Is terrible.
No, it's another thing that they're just going to scan through. Oh, you got naked pictures, illegal content, citizen. Oh, unlawful network traffic, citizen.
So we could put for the end of our thing here. Add Al Sharpton's "Resist Me Much." I don't know, and the Brolf.
Okay,
that's what Yerke would like to hear at the end, and we'll give
Uncle Don loved the Brolf story. I told him.
Oh, did he now? Why doesn't Uncle Don just listen to the show?
And what he said, I would love it if Brolf Witzer just started and said, "This is CNN with breaking wind." I thought for an 86-year-old guy that was pretty funny.
Hey. Sir Dwayne Melanson, again, the Duke of Mystery from Tigard. Tigard.
The place, yeah.
$80.03.
Mm-hmm.
He wants his boom donation of $80.03. Get it? Looks like boom.
Looks like boom, right? So does he want that again? Does he want to? I guess
a boom shakalaka. Well, he says he donated to the other one. He might as well give him this. There he is again.
Bingo, boom shakalaka.
There you go, bingo.
And he seems to like that a lot. Frank Pugh in Tallahassee, Florida, $75. Randall Myers in Manassas, Virginia, $66.60. And these are all. I asked for 66.60s and 6.60s and 6.66.
We got pretty much nothing.
No one. We got nothing. We got a lot of six. Well, not even a lot of $6.60. We did get a few.
Okay.
But we got very few of much. And then I looked at the mailing I think it got shunted to spam for some reason. I can't figure out why. Borislav Marinov in Aliso Viejo, 6660, Herb Lamb, also in Sugar Hill, Georgia, 6660. He's thought that the analysis of the Ferguson riots being a Democrat get-out-the-vote operation was stellar. He had to donate. Gwen Adams in Sarasota, Florida, 6660. We got a birthday coming up. He says she wants some birthday karma de-douching. We'll put the birthday karma de-douching at the end, and I'll throw the harmonica in then, but you also get on the birthday list. Anonymous in Dayton, Ohio, 6660. And finally, Joe Wagner of Atlanta, Georgia, 6660. That's all we got. People, check your spam box and see what happened to that last email. Anonymous.
It came in fine for me in my own mail server.
Well, yeah. Well, it came in fine for me, too. Eric Wood, double nickels on the dime from Exeter, Rhode Island. Sir Thirsty of the North Sydney, double nickels on the dime. It's a yearly donation of $55.10 on his birthday, August 17th. We got you on the list. Kevin Hind, Auckland, New Zealand, 50 double nickels on the dime. Pedro Gonzalez Arellano in Cornelia, Barcelona, Spain.
He says, thank you for your courage.
Thank you for your donation. Now, these are all what we have left. Here's a few $50 donations, and that's all we got.
Wow.
Rosalind Furness and Turnbridge Wells, Kent.
Oh, I slept 3 hours last night just trying to prep.
Kayuragi? Eri. N. I don't know.
I think it's Eri Kuragi. Eri Kuragi. Kuragi.
In San Francisco, and this is a birthday coming up for Brian Mickey.
Yeah, right on.
James Wilkins in Hertfordshire. And Josh McDonald in Mount Waverly, Victoria, Australia. And finally, John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma. Great name for a town. Second only to Gnawbone. Chris Slewinski in Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada, where the money is. And finally, DJ Day, who did send in a note, and I do have it here, and I might as well read it because it came in handwritten. The only check that came in the mail that was with a handwritten note. All the other ones were just bank checks, and they weren't any big ones. To the host of the greatest podcast in the universe, I've been listening for your deconstruction theories for a while now. I must say I enjoy a lot. I enjoy them a lot, and so does my wife. You two are on to something more times than not. Finally got a job in June, so I don't have to decide to share the wealth with you two. I've decided to share the wealth with you two and really enjoy the show and hope to listen for many years to come. So here's a little something, blah, blah, blah. It will be too much to ask for a mac and cheese jingle. I love John's rendition of it. DJ Day in Scottsdale.
I have no problem doing that. It's always fun to
throw it in there. You slaves can get used to mac and cheese, cheap macaroni and cheap cheddar melted together.
Mac and cheese. There you go. Mac and cheese. And does that conclude our list? A very short one.
That's all we got. That's all there is, and there is no more.
And so very little beasts in the way of newsletter. Well, it seems something went wrong with the newsletter. That's obvious.
I think it went into the spam.
Something went wrong with the newsletter.
Spams. The numbers weren't normal. They were abnormally low.
That's upsetting. And we did have a great PR initiative going on in Texas. This weekend is the... what's it called? It's like a podcast harmony.
Yeah, the podcast thing is going on there.
And they had asked me a long time ago if I had to say, come do a keynote. Well, you're not the Podfather now, are you? If they have a making lemonade convention, they'll call you. No, they call me as the Podfather. And I've never done I have nothing to say. What am I going to say? The only reason people go to these is to see if they can make money. I don't see any of the. Well, that is actually not true.
No, that's true. They go to network and make money.
One of our producers, who goes to all of these, goes there to ensure that the No Agenda Show is promoted as the best podcast in the universe.
Okay, well, that's a plus.
And is always there to propagate our formula.
Okay, hit people in the mouth.
And make sure that no one calls himself the Podfather.
Oh.
And this is our friend, Sergeant Fred.
Sergeant. Sergeant Fred.
Sergeant Fred, Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, good guy.
He always sends us double nickels on the dime. Big podcaster himself, does business podcasts. He does a lot of entrepreneur podcasts. And I have a clip.
Did he go to the podcast thing? This is a clip from the podcast thing?
Yes, during the keynote.
I'm listening.
I think Gary Leland, famous as the podcast Pickle, was doing the keynote. And
podcast Pickle?
Yeah, I think he had a website, Podcast Pickle.
Huh.
Back in the day, which was, I don't know.
All right, hit it.
It was like a directory. It happens pretty quick. Well, you'll recognize Sergeant Fred in a heartbeat.
I'm Gary Leland.
In the morning!
There you go.
Sergeant Fred. He says, good morning, everybody. I'm Gary Leland. In the morning!
Wow.
I think Sergeant Fred is fabulous.
I appreciate that old man from 2005. And we are the 4 founders of Podcast Movement. Whoa.
I have no idea what he's yelling, but I love that Sergeant Fred is there propagating it
Okay.
for him.
Yeah, there you go. That's what our version of publicity is all about. It works.
Hey. People at least
And
laugh.
it's cheap.
It's very, very inexpensive to the show.
And wandering money about okay.
Thank you
so
all.
What was this event for? It was the podcast world or something. I forget what it was.
A podcast melting pot. I forget. I really don't remember. It looked like a pretty good event, but then they wanted to do a Kickstarter, and it's like, so I'm going to do the keynote, and I have nothing to say, and you're going to say Adam Curry speaking and doing a Kickstarter. I have nothing to say. And I have a family reunion, so that was the best.
Oh, no, you can't go to,
obviously. Thank you all very much for your support of the best podcast in the universe. Light, luckily we had an instant night and I think he becomes a baronet. He needs to give us some details if he wants regions and setups for his barony, etc. So we'll be happy to do that. In the meantime, please support us for Thursday's show. It's going to be a lot of work, and I think that we brought you some value today, certainly coming to you from New York, from the hotel. Nothing can stop the show from going on. We've always done our best to continue no matter what the personal circumstances are or the technical circumstances, and we're hanging in there once again.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And the karma as requested for everybody.
Dr. Fauci, thanks so much, as always, for joining us.
Good to be here, bro.
But resist we much. We must and we will much about that.
Jobs,
be committed.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
There we go, everybody. And let's take a look at our birthday list.
It's your birthday.
Gwen Adams says happy birthday to the boyfriend Bill celebrating today. Sir Thirsty of North Sydney celebrates today as well. Ari Kuragi, happy birthday to husband Brian Mickey, 47 on the 19th. And that concludes our list. Happy birthday from all your friends here and the entire staff and management and shareholders of the best podcast in the universe.
It's your birthday, yeah.
And you're looking at him, by the way, if you wanted to know who that was. Staff management. Except for Eric, of course. He's back office. We know that. We all know that. 2 nightings, John. And I brought this with me. Again, trusted traveler, trusted citizen, no issue. Let me look at it again, man. Look at this thing.
Not a stabber.
They don't care about my sword.
Huh.
Didn't say a thing. And you?
I keep 2 swords. I have to admit it. I don't really travel with my sword. I keep the other one up north.
And
I cheat.
Yeah, you are a cheater, aren't you? Eric Tailhoots, step forward. Luke Rayner, step forward. Both of you gentlemen have reached the table of the round, the knights and dames. This is where you belong for your support of the best podcast in the universe. And I hereby pronounce thee Sir Eric of the Amazon and Sir Luke of London, the knight on a bike. Gentlemen, for you, mother's milk and red pills, ass cream and bear fillings, girlfriend experience and good bourbon, porn stars and pot, puppies and port, mushrooms and maker's mark, hookers and blow, rent boys and Chardonnay, bad science and perky breasts, wenches and beer, bong hits and bourbon, or maybe just some mutton and mead. And for you, we have your rings. They await you. Go to noagendanation.com/rings, and we'll be very happy to send those off to you. And again, thank you for your support. Dvorak.org/NA is where you can find all of the information on our peerage, who owns what. My cousin Burr is an archaeologist. Burr Harrison. Burr. B-U-R-R. There's actually a lot of famous gentlemen who've been named Burr in American history.
Yeah.
And Raymond Burr. Mm-hmm. Burr's rolling his eyes. Right. Burr actually listens to the show a lot. And he's an archaeologist, and he was very pleased to hear that in the future colleagues of his, not yet born, will find our peerage map and understand who actually ran the world. He'll know that, or she will know that Grand Duke von Pelsmakers ran France and Belgium. Grand Duke David Foley ran the United States, started with Silicon Valley, but really branched out and owned the whole kit and caboodle. Who owns what pieces, what baronies, our protectorates belong where.
Yeah.
And it will be true because it's on a Google map, and everyone knows that's always fact.
Yeah, but it came right from the archaeologists will dig it up, and they'll say, what's this? And then they'll analyze it and translate it and figure out what, there'll be books will be written about it.
Being in New York, and I will say that I do have a browser that is not blocked and just open, because I need to always figure out what is going on, because it's part of my job.
You have a browser that's blocked in Texas?
I have a browser. I on my machine, I have a browser that I use for unblocked surfing so that I can see what's going on.
Yeah.
And when you're in other towns, other cities, and other networks, you get other messaging. So it's interesting to see what's going on. And I got a message, a video ad from Comcast and Time Warner. And they are, of course, working on a merger to become pretty much the largest Mac Daddy badass broadband cable thing provider in the land.
We called Com Warner or Timecast.
And what do you think this particular, if you were, let's just presume that you had a campaign that no one really knew about, but now we'll start to bring it to the forefront because you really want, after you've scared the citizens and you've scared podcasters and you've scared other Silicon Valley pundits into believing that if you don't request something from the government, it'll be very scary. And then, of course, this is where they now are popping their head up in a policy town, New York, obviously, policy town for a lot of things. And they bring you the ad with families of all shapes, sizes, and colors. It's just so lovely and familiar. And what do you think the message would be about, John, for this Timecast Com Warner?
It would be about how great it would be if those two companies merged.
And when those two companies merge, what do you receive as a consumer?
Oh, better service and a deal, $5 off.
You receive faster speeds, better service, more security, because they support net neutrality.
Since when?
Since this commercial, since they're now popping their head up. And here are the people who have been paying for all these lobbying groups. I'm looking at you, Fight the Freedom, frickin' Tech, whatever your name is. I'm looking at all you shills taking all that Comcast, Time Warner money, and it's scaring people that, oh, the packets will be unequal and we won't be able to get a slow website. There will be fast lanes. All the things John and I have been railing against, saying this is bull crap. There's no such thing as packet equality in networks. This is only about one thing, is getting you to follow the rules and have legal content and legal network traffic. But here's all the benefits. And finally, here are the true people behind it all, Comcast, Time Warner, coming together to bring you the net neutrality you need to want and vote for, citizen.
How do you make life online better?
You extend the protection of net neutrality rules to millions more people.
Make it faster for millions more homes and businesses.
You extend the power of the internet so every child can have the internet at home.
Life online gets better when people have a faster, more secure, and reliable internet. That's what Comcast and Time Warner Cable are committed to do. Comcast and Time Warner Cable, together is better for more people.
There you go. Together is better for more people.
Can I ask you some questions?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
As though you were, let's say we're at a hearing.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I want to ask you, how is the two companies combined better?
More people will receive faster internet, safer internet. More children will be able to have education through internet.
Why can't they get that now through the two separate companies?
Oh,
what happens when the two companies merge?
Oh no, you need
make it better.
You need to have one infrastructure so that you will have no competition between any kind of networks, and net neutrality will be in place, and everyone will be treated fairly, and nothing can go wrong.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Curry.
What? That's it? You just have to wonder if anyone, I don't know, sees through this?
Sees the illogic of the whole thing.
Does anyone see through this at all? I was kind of blown away when I got that ad here.
Yeah, that's a gem that you recorded. It very smart.
Well, it was one of the, I had to stop, go back, reload the page, and then pray that I still got the ad, which I did, luckily.
Well, let's just hear one more Ben Shapiro thing. I don't think we need to listen to much more. I've got some other stuff we can do on the next show. But
okay, yeah, good.
This is Shapiro going off on. He hates
another Ben Shapiro clip. What?
He goes off on socialists and narcissists, and he seems that if you watch him for the whole hour, which is about a 3-hour speech done in an hour, the way he prattles
the way he
off,
goes, yeah,
and he just hates Joe Biden. He thinks Joe Biden is the biggest dummy in the world ever, and he's also thinks Joe's full of himself, and he thinks highly of himself, and Joe Biden for some reason really rubs this guy the wrong way.
Joe Biden, and thank you for taking the time to listen.
Yeah, I can see why.
So this is the rant. It's a pretty good rant. I thought we just play it and see what. It's a little bit of a right-wing rant, but I enjoyed it a lot.
As far as the first question, and thank you for delinking the questions. I see now why you did that. As far as the first question, as to his narcissism, yes, of course, President Obama is a dramatic narcissist. Most people who run for office are, which is why we delinked the question. The first requirement of running for office should be that you desperately do not want to run for office. That would be a good start. But as far as President Obama, his narcissism, yes, he's an egoist, but this goes along with the overweening sense of self that comes along with a nihilistic atheism resulting in his ideology. This is what the left is all about. It's all about narcissism. It's about your feelings. It doesn't matter if that black...
Did you speed this up, John? Come on. You sped this up.
I swear to God, this is the way the guy talks.
That's not actual communication.
That kid in the inner city gets shot in the face a couple of times. All that matters is that you feel good about what you say about the black kid who got shot in the inner city, even if you didn't save him or you're not going to save his neighbor. Leftism is all about narcissism. It's all about helping yourself, because socialism is about narcissism. Whoa. Socialism is based on the fundamental premise: I'm breathing, I'm here, feed me. Okay, it turns out that my 5-month-old baby is a socialist. She is. Right? She's hungry. I feed her. She poops. I clean her. Right? She's cuter than the vast majority of socialists I know. But the nice thing is, at a certain point, I know she'll grow out of it, unlike the rest of these idiots. But socialism is all about selfishness. It's all about narcissism. It's all about an overweening sense of superiority based on nothing you've ever done. Because socialists, by and large, should not build businesses. They don't make people's lives better. They don't increase the efficacy of government. They don't make people's prosperity happen. They don't do any of these things. They didn't build that, in other words. But they take credit for that because it makes them feel better. So that's the answer to the first question. Of course, he's an egotist. Of course, Hillary Clinton is an egotist. Of course, Joe Biden is a massive egotist because he's not even smart and he's an egotist.
You would listening to the second time you listened to him, after listening to him for the first time, it was easier. He is so, he needs some coaching in terms of his public speaking. He cannot keep talking like this.
Right. No, but also, who cares? They're all narcissists, and he's only pulling out the Democrats.
He said that too.
You know what? I don't like this guy.
What did I say when I first introduced you to him?
That I would not like this guy.
Yeah, of course.
So don't bring someone to my house who I'm not going to like. Don't do that.
It's not your house. It's our house.
Well, you're in my bedroom.
I'm not in... Well, you're in your bedroom.
Thank you. I'm in my bedroom.
I'm in the office.
I can't believe you.
Silicon Valley office overlooking.
I can't believe you brought this douchebag into my bedroom, John.
Well, it's
this cannot happen again.
He owes you sex.
Okay. Let me see. Let's see if we can wrap this up. I don't know if we have.
You have some Panama Canal stuff. Is pretty interesting. Oh, okay, I got one that's light.
Okay.
This is interesting to me. This is the the Peninsula Hotel is opening in Paris.
I did not get the invite.
The rooms are $2,000 for openers, and it's like,
okay.
I want to. This is interesting to me because it's like the decadence of the places of these hotels. All of a sudden in Paris, I mean, the Paris has already had great expensive hotels, the George Cinq, the Crillon, there's a bunch of these places. But now they got these high-end places.
Like George Cinq was not high-end?
No, I'm saying, well, no, it is high-end, but now they've got places that are trying to leapfrog the George Cinq.
Oh, wow.
Hong Kong.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Here we go.
Based hotelier Peninsula is the latest to try its luck in the French capital. It's teamed up with Qatari investors to open up this establishment, the Peninsula Paris. They pulled out all the stops, investing an estimated 900 million euros in the purchase and the refurbishment of this building. And on a room-for-room basis, it is believed that the Peninsula Paris is the costliest hotel ever created. With several other competitors recently opened and with more on the way, will this investment pay off?
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it's a bunch of douchebags will go in there and they'll fill it up. It's perfect. This is what has happened with the stock market and the financial system. This is a very small amount of people, but they become incredibly wealthy and they fill it up. New York is the same. New York, you can't get a 2-bedroom apartment for under $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
A 2-bedroom hotel suite, $5,000 a night. No, it's just crazy. No, it's fine. Yeah. Why do you think I live in Austin? Hello. And that's also, I have to say, I'm a little worried. You see we're adding 4,000 hotel rooms and God knows what's going to happen.
Austin, fastest growing city in the country, is going to be a crap hole in no time.
Yeah, I am afraid of that. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going to go next. There's no place else. Des Moines.
No.
But anyway, there's all
smaller.
these places.
Just have to go. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be smaller. It's the little house movement. The little house on the prairie. I'm going to live in a trailer, an RV.
You won't get good internet connections.
No. Oh, that'll also be a thing of the past. Unless, of course, you assist with the legislation known as net neutrality and help Time Warner and Comcast join forces to give children in all across this great land better education.
Think of the children. That's what you should have played after the Time Warner thing.
I know. All right,
I'm done. I got no more. You hate Ben Shapiro.
No, I don't. Yeah, I do.
You don't think much of the Peninsula Hotel opening in Paris.
No, I like that, but no. What am I going to say?
By the way, the Bellagio cost over $1 billion. So, although I guess 900 euros is 1.2
it's more than
$2 billion.
Yeah,
probably higher.
I did have something here to play us out. I thought I had something good here. What is this? This is now Josh Earnest. No, that's not any good. That guy has to go. He's so boring.
Who?
The Carney's replacement, the spokeshole for the president.
Oh, I don't like this guy.
Oh, he's horrible.
Yeah, he puts you to sleep. He's somnambulistic.
Very good term. I had never heard of this. Nambulistic?
Somnambulistic.
Okay.
SOM. Nambulistic.
I think the only other thing that may be of interest just to watch, just because we know that some dude named Ben is going to get totally burned for this thing, this IRS hard drive. This does not stop. This continues, this quest. And now the judge has come out and said the following. Hello, Judge. Why are you not playing? I'm sorry. I don't know. It's not playing. I don't know what to say. I'm trying to figure it out. Hold on.
U.S. District Court Judge Emmett Sullivan Thursday ordered the Internal Revenue Service to come up with new answers after IRS employees contradicted sworn testimony about damage to Lois Lerner's hard drive. Sullivan ruled that the IRS is hereby ordered to file a sworn declaration by an official with the authority to speak under oath for the agency by no later than August 22, 2014, on 4 issues.
Yeah, and that's an Associated Press report, that really blown out voice with the no explanation of the 4 issues. I'd like to give them to you real quick just so we can see.
Anything better than that report.
And again, it's
that guy gets paid money to do that?
Oh, yeah. So some poor sap, some dude named Ben is going to get totally reamed for this. In light of the declarations filed by the IRS is hereby ordered to file a sworn declaration, which means someone's going to have to burn. Right? If it's sworn someone has to give a sworn declaration, which should be an official with the authority to speak under oath for the agency. Hello, if your name is Ben, run. No later than August 22nd, 2014. In this declaration, the IRS must, 1, provide information about its efforts, if any, to recover missing Lois Lerner emails from alternative sources, i.e., BlackBerry, iPhone, iPad. That's tough right there. 2, provide additional information explaining the IRS's policy of tracking inventory through use of barcode property tags, including whether component parts such as hard drives receive a barcode tag when serviced. If individual components do not receive a barcode tag, provide information on how the IRS tracks component parts, such as hard drives, when being serviced, which, of course, we know they are. That's the one thing that we know IT always does well, is ruining the casing of any computer with some thing that you cannot remove. You cannot jimmy off whatever tag is put on. Provide information, this is point 3, about the IRS's policy to DGOS hard drives. What's 1982? Okay, DGOS hard drives, including whether the IRS records whose hard drive is DGOSed, either by tracking the employee's name or the particular machine with which the hard drive was associated. And 4, provide information about the outside vendor who can verify the IRS's destruction policies concerning hard drives. So someone's going to burn for this, because you cannot. Someone's either going to lie or just burn. I think that you burn either way.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that no one has brought back the Rosemary Woods stretch. It seems like we need one of those, the modern day version. Do you think anyone knows what that is anymore?
I don't.
The Rosemary Woods stretch?
It rings a bell, but I don't remember what it is.
The Watergate tapes. This was Nixon's personal secretary, and she inadvertently, by stretching completely backwards with her left arm outreached, her right foot on a foot switch, and I think by tapping her pencil on the desk, was able to erase a critical 181-minute gap in an audio tape. And she was in I think in Senate or Congress, and just demonstrating how this happened, how she simultaneously pressed controls several feet apart, known as the Rosemary stretch.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. Well, this is all explained more accurately in a movie that came out later. I think it was called Dick.
I think we need a modern day version of that. Someone's got to come up with something good. You know what I mean? It should be possible.
All right. And that will be our report from New York for...
There we go. Sorry about that.
August 17th, 2014.
Yes, and apologies for everyone who heard me say welcome to Sunday's show on Thursday.
Yes.
Did you catch it? I didn't catch it, obviously.
Well, I can't tell what day it is half the time.
Oh, this is true.
Hey.
Thank you, John. Thank you for bearing with me. Really appreciate it. Thanks for bringing the Shapiro. I have to say, interesting to hear that side. But holy moly, is that guy misguided or what? It's just he's out of control. And remember, people, it's very easy to opt out. All right.
Dump your phone.
Yeah,
Take the battery out.
Dump your phone. Coming to you from FEMA Region 2 here in the Big Apple of Gitmo Nation. I would say in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, where it's morning no more, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Thursday, right here on No Agenda. Adios, mofos.
I didn't actually interact directly with people in the IT arena. There was somebody whose name was, I can't even remember his last name. I think his first name may have been Ben.
A guy named Ben, a dude named Ben.
Me? I know who I am. I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. You a dude that don't know what dude he is.
Adios, mofo.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA